I hear a whole lot of plugs. Are we good? Do we have sound now?
Welcome to Digital Fiasco Live.
There we go. Yes. Okay, welcome to Digital Fiasco Live. It's another lovely Monday. My name's Dandr0id.
And I'm Jack McBastard.
And there we go.
We have good news
now,
and bad news. Yeah, I was wondering, you probably didn't hear me. I was wondering, did I turn the sound on? The good news is yes. Bad news is...
It's not in the right way.
the only microphone that was currently active was over at control.
Oh, okay. That's awesome. I'm sure it was just picking us up in the background.
Right. So I'd be like, so no, it was because last week on Thursday I streamed some Phantom Doctrine, and that was awesome. Enjoyed that. But yeah, I totally forgotten to swap everything around. Since we were running late at the last minute getting everything done, I have no pen.
Do you want to go get your pen?
I will, in fact, get my pen.
Or is that the pen you need right over there?
That is, in fact, also a similar pen to the one I need. That will do. That will do.
Similar pen, but not the one.
It's a reasonable hand-drawn facsimile to the pen.
All right.
So, yeah. Anyway, I was just saying that Alabel last week on Comic Sans on Tuesday, he came over and he gave me his cold. So I was feeling kind of crap last week. Sort of got over it, but unfortunately, in the meantime, Ms. McBastards got it, and it went down into her chest. So all last night, it was like hacking and coughing, and like every time she breathed in deeply to cough, it sounded like she was like grabbing a handful of bubble wrap.
Yeah.
And I was like, ugh. So roughly about 4 o'clock this morning, I'm up like looking at my phone, and this isn't helping me go back to sleep. So I went and I slept on the couch. So I have gotten so little sleep today.
Well, I'm glad to see you're alive at least.
Oh yes, I'm very much alive. I had a full day's work.
Apparently,
this bullshit.
James Breen is playing the home version of our Digital Fiasco bingo.
I swear to God, for 1 year anniversary, we're gonna throw out there the Digital Fiasco bingo cards.
We'll the 12. It will be on for 12 hours. Yep. So yeah, we'll get a bingo card set up, and you can play along at home.
We'll have to figure out. Maybe there's a software or something where they can register for it. Is there?
There absolutely is, actually.
Okay, good. Because I already know like a lot of what the actual squares would be. Albel puns. I mean, that should be a free space, basically.
That's a given.
Yeah.
That'll definitely be the free space in the middle.
Pretty much. All right, so what have you been playing?
It was just actually more of the Surge, because it's obviously not a short game.
Yep. Turns out I have that for the PS4 and for the PC as well, because it was a Humble Bundle a while back.
Well, there you go.
So yeah, that was handy.
I'm sure it'll look absolutely glorious on the rig there, because
the internet is down, says Kill Destroy. Don't say shit like that. Turn around 3 times and spit, Bam Kill. Goddamn.
But yeah, I just played some more of the Surge where I kind of fit it into my schedule, because it's fucking awesome. I absolutely love the game. It's sci-fi Dark Souls, and you can't really go wrong with that.
Yeah.
The funny part is that when I bought it, I bought like the complete edition, or I guess complete up to that version, because as we found out this past week, apparently they're just randomly adding a like Western town into it for no reason. So I'm like, oh, okay, that's cool.
So is that going to be an additional paid DLC, or you can get that free?
As far as I know, it's going to be an additional paid one, probably just to keep people kind of in the loop until they actually release the second game or something like that.
Mamkill got to it before I commented on it. I was all ready to take him to task about how exactly he spells bingo with an A. Bago, I guess. Or Bango? Bango.
Binga. There. That'll do.
Binga? I don't know. Well, he did it in order, so it's more like Bango. he spells it obviously like Zap Brannigan.
Yeah, that works.
Bango.
Anyway. But yeah, so I had the
in the Philippines.
I had the complete edition of it, so it had the extra. I think there was like 2 DLC areas, and then there was like some extra like weapons and armor content or something like that.
Walk in the park and
Fire and Ice was like the weapons pack, and then I think there was like another area or something like that.
A Walk in the Park was the big add-on.
That was like the big add-on, which I stumbled into by accident.
Oh, how'd that go for you?
Because I was playing the game. I was in that area I was talking about last week, where you're kind of in like the deep dark pits of like one of the like factory areas.
Sure.
And I was like wandering around, and like, oh, I've never been down this set of stairs before, and I like wander down there, and then all of a sudden there's like this big like subway kind of area.
Yeah, I think that's like the #1 answer for last words ever spoken in any Dark Souls game.
Absolutely,
right?
It's I haven't been over here yet, and then you're dead. Like it's usually how it goes. But that was the whole thing. As soon as I walk down these stairs, it's this like well lit like subway platform kind of thing.
Cool.
And there's like nothing there, and as soon as I walk forward, all of a sudden this like tram that's just sitting there all of a sudden like honks and then slowly pulls forward, and I'm like, oh, what the fuck is this now?
Okay.
So I thought, you know, robot's gonna come off of it and start attacking me or something like that, but no, it pulls up and goes ding 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 ding, and the doors open, and I'm like,
Mr. Sandman.
okay, well, I got in.
Yeah.
Sure enough, it goes along, and then it like plays this like little bit and piece about where it's going, and sure enough, I end up in fucking
City 17.
I think the company that made all the robotics is called Creo, so I think it's like Creo Land or something like that.
Sure.
And yeah, so it's like now arriving at Creo Land, and you come out and everything that, and it looks like a wrecked Disney World kind of thing. So I was like, oh, okay. So I stumbled into the DLC. So I'm like, all right, we'll check out what's over here. It seems kind of neat.
I get it. A walk in the park.
Yep, that's it. And then the whole thing is an amusement park like area where, you know, more shit has gone astray. And as soon as you go into the park, everything's like, you know, bright and colorful. They have all the planters and benches. Like, it literally just looks like a Disneyland ripoff. And then you go in and you realize that obviously everything's gone to shit, and your kind of like med bay, because every like area has like that single med bay that you always return to. It's like your campfire where you recharge everything
without medical thermite.
So no medical thermite.
Disappointing.
So you go in there and it's this like wrecked like med pod that got like launched in when the shit hit the fan, and it's like teetering on an edge. And there's like a dude inside. He's just like, I don't know, man. I'm just a computer programmer. I can help you out if you get me connected to this network and all this other stuff. So it's like, that's kind of part of the story. And there's 2 exits to the pod. And if you try to go to the other exit, the whole place like tilts you. No, don't go over there. And like the door half opens. And you can like see it like leaning over the cliff. And so I thought that was like just kind of an interesting, like a little funny kind of situation they put you in there. But the best part about it is it still keeps like the hardcore gameplay of the game, but it has a sense of humor too, because you're in this like Disneyland-esque park. What do you think all the robots are that are around you?
I'm assuming it feels like a Fallout game at that point.
They're giant, doofy-looking mascots with like, but parts of their costume have been shredded off, and you see like bladed hands and like robot pieces under them. Because like the first guy you find in there, he's this big like. He has like overalls on. He's like green and orange. He's all big and doofy looking, but his head is like a giant donut. But he has like these giant like mechanical claw hands, and he's just like walking around like this, and all of a sudden he like spots you, and he starts walking over with his arms wide open like he's gonna give you a giant hug, and then he fucking leaps at you and tries to like crush you basically. So
it's like the Surge via Five Nights at Freddy's.
Yeah, like it's just like this fucking nightmare. So
terrifying.
But yeah, just a really cool area and a really cool addition to the game. It just because it takes it takes all those like same like awesome mechanics and all the like great storytelling into that, but it just adds that kind of like extra little bit of fun, kind of sense of humor to it and everything like that. So, I mean, honestly, even if I didn't have that expansion pack, I probably would have bought it after seeing just like bits and pieces of it, because it's you had to add the Wilhelm scream. I thought you already had that one queued up.
Oh, I did. I need to check there's that thing with the
thing. Okay. Yes. Are you good then, or are you doing more shit back there? Because okay, whose bingo card had Jack has to fix shit in the middle of the show?
Hey now.
You know it's gonna be on the card.
That's true.
It's gotta be.
That is true. Yes. No.
Are you good?
Maybe. How'd you get in here?
Okay, well anyways, yeah, so like I said last week, if you don't have the Surge and you like the Soul series, go fucking buy the Surge. Go buy the complete pack and have fun with it, because it's a fucking awesome game. I can't wait to play more of it. It's just I've been super busy for the past week, and I'm going to be even busier for the upcoming week. So basically I won't get to really play it until I think October. And I think Jack has he found what he's looking for?
I have, in fact. We were not getting a
Are you going through your entire sound pack?
The soundboard wasn't running through the thing for some reason. There was an OBS update. I noticed it on Tuesday. I forgot to fix it, but the soundboard is now fixed so that everyone can appreciate our lovely soundboard effects.
There we go.
Okay.
All right. Yeah. So that's what I was playing.
Good.
So, oh, and I downloaded the Mega Man demo for Mega Man 11, but I did not get a chance to play it yet.
Piece of the set falls apart. That's a sucker's bet. The set's the most stable thing on it. I mean, we have
it's
we
like
have volcano insurance.
Everything's kind of just glued to the wall, so I don't think it's going anywhere.
No, I mean, set falls apart. That's probably the worst thing to bet on.
Yeah.
Dandr0id would fall apart first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. So that's what I've been playing. What have you been playing? So I see a stack of games over there.
Yes. I still have not gotten to Yakuza Kiwami 2.
That's unfortunate.
I've got a distinct Yakuza backup that I need to address before it explodes. But long story short, last week we had 2 major releases. The first of which on Monday or Tuesday. Monday, because it was the holiday.
Tuesdays when everything releases, anyways.
Well, it was actually, I think I almost had it on Friday, but they apparently put the thing on the wrong vehicle.
You talking about Spooderman?
Yeah, it was Thursday last week. I played it over the weekend. It was Dragon Warrior. I was playing Dragon Warrior 11. Fantastic Dragon Warrior game. Just great. The game's great.
Just solid through and through.
Yes.
No complaints.
Yes. So all last week I was playing Dragon Quest 11, because it's now no longer Dragon Warrior in North America. Everything is under Dragon Quest.
Yeah, as we had kind of discussed on my everybody's played this but me. It was that it started out as Dragon Warrior. I don't know when it switched over. Was it 3 or 4 or something like that?
It was actually after that. It was well after that. 7 on the PS1 is still listed as Dragon Warrior. I think
really?
I think it was on the PS2 when they came out with Cursed King.
Yeah, that was 8, I think.
I think so. Yes, I think that one is now Dragon Quest. Then all the other ones released after that. So, whatever time that was actually released. But anyway,
so you want confusing naming conventions? Then there you go.
But it's a traditional Dragon Quest game. I'm really enjoying it. You can set all your characters to manual, so you can just run them like normal.
Yeah, because it's like you still get locked into an arena, but it's active combat within that area.
Yeah, you can move your characters around. I've not yet figured out if there's any kind of tactical advantage of actually moving your characters, but realistically, you could just not move them at all and just play it like a normal Dragon Quest game. Yeah. So you can also automate everything and give them different strategies, but I never bother with that. There's crafting in it. Doing a lot of crafting. You can learn how to make a bunch of crap. So far, there's a number of different characters, and the world is beautiful. The graphics are amazing. Kira Toriyama's artwork looks fantastic in 3D.
It absolutely does. Like every screenshot I've seen that game, it looks like a cell from one of the animes or something like that. Like it just looks amazing.
I mean, I thought 8 was good. This one is even better. It look like very, very fluid, and it feels like a Dragon Quest game. So definitely enjoyed that. But Spider-Man came out on Friday.
Of course, and, as we and the entire internet have been flooded with Spider-Man pics. I'm sure G. Jonah's really enjoying this right now, because all that guy ever wanted was pictures of Spider-Man.
Oh my God,
he got him. Oh fuck, did he ever get him?
So the interesting thing about Spider-Man is that it doesn't redo all of the origin myth again, because that's pointless. But it is like a alternate universe specifically to the game. So while you might be familiar with some of the comic events, some of them play out a little bit differently. Yeah, you actually get to watch Doc Octopus, like Otto Octavius, slowly transition. Like he is like Otto Octavius. Yeah, you're working with him. Like over the course of the game, throughout various missions, like you'll find yourself busy dealing with a threat, and Octavius will be phoning you up and like, "Hey cousin, let's go bowling." Oh, sorry, I can't make it. I'm doing. I'll start ahead without you. Right. The next time you go back, he's made some more progress, and you do some of the mini games to help him out with his creation. Yeah. Then suddenly shit happens, and he's a Doc Ock. And, And then just as you feel the game is coming to what you think is like to a natural end. It's like bam, it's like Act 3, bitch.
Oh, sweet.
Oh, and like it goes so far off the fucking rails. So yeah, like the game, people were worried about it being a downgrade, and I said no, it isn't. I can now like officially say, holy crap, is it absolutely not? It's better, if anything.
Like you're talking about like the whole graphics thing that happened.
Yes.
It absolutely is. Like when a bunch of those screenshots first started coming out.
Yep.
And I didn't realize that they had like that amazing like selfie cam and screenshot thing in the game. I saw the first few photos and I thought it was literally people cosplaying.
Yep.
Like the fucking shaders and filters and like everything that's going on, whatever magic they did to that game, it looks fucking brilliant.
Yep. Insomniac can make a beautiful goddamn game.
Yeah.
The one thing, speaking of outfits, which Jace brings out, I have not yet gotten my favorite outfit, which is the symbiote costume. I have one costume to unlock as far as I can tell. and no symbiote costume yet. That would be a shocking oversight if that's the case. Granted, there are like 3 coming out in the DLC, but
I was going to say, have you confirmed
game.
that one's in there? Because I watched a video. I watched a video of the like costumes included in the game.
Yeah,
and I don't believe the symbiote was one of them.
That would be very disappointing.
I think they were holding that back for like a DLC or whatever was going on.
Disappointing to me.
But to be fair, they do have a whole slew of awesome fucking costumes in the game,
and some that are crap. But yeah,
I mean. Teach their own, really. Yeah. Everybody has their favorite Spider-Man.
With one of the more recent patches, I think like one of the day one patches, the really early patches, they actually patched in a plainclothes Spider-Man where it's like him in a t-shirt and stuff.
And literally just the mask on, yeah. And then they have a fucking underwear one for some reason. Like it's literally mask and like heart underwear, like heart boxers or whatever.
Well, there's a scene in the thing where that happens.
Okay, so that's actually like a model from the game then.
It was a very kind of GTA moment. It's like, okay. Good thinking, Trevor. So yeah, but I am really enjoying the game. I've not yet finished the full storyline because I'm going around doing a bunch of the side stuff.
Of course, yeah, you got to do that.
Yeah, the swinging feels amazing. Like that's the one thing they fucking nailed that.
I think that was like key number one. Insomniac was like, we got this license, we're making a Spider-Man game, and they have their whiteboard.
Yeah,
and they're like swinging mechanic, and that was like. If that was broken or if there's anything wrong with that, there was no game. Because that's like everybody's demand for a Spider-Man game.
There was a whole tweet, I don't know if it was an Ask Me Anything or just like a response to an Insomniac thing. He said, I have 2 questions for you. It's like, 1, how is the swinging mechanic? 2, it doesn't matter because you answered it already. Like, it's number 1 and or nothing. You know, like everything after that is gravy.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, they've got the bulk of the Sinister Six in it. All of their costumes have been reimagined, but they all look like really good.
They're very Tony Stark, but they're robotic. Like
they look like
they're more armor than costumes,
right? And I mean, they retcon some of the storyline to fit into this other world, but man, like it plays out. Like you're really invested in the characters and the plot that's going on, and it's not just this is a Spider-Man level.
The question I have, because I've tried to stay away from a lot of trailers for this outside of just seeing some action, some gameplay kind of situation. What does Peter Parker feel like in this game? Does he feel
himself?
Like does he? Which actor would you say he felt like from all the different movies, or is he kind of his own version of Peter Parker?
He looks like he's definitely not designed after any of the particular actors.
Yeah.
He's very quippy, like both himself, but definitely as Spider-Man.
Yeah.
And man, like there is some hilarious shit in the game. Like it does not get old. They've recorded a lot of dialogue to ensure that with him constantly
you don't get
quipping,
the repetitive every 3 punches he says this, and every third time he jumps he says this, and like those kind of situations.
Well, they're okay. Not to give away a spoiler, but you fight like Electro.
Yeah.
And you fight the Vulture.
Yeah.
Right. And the one thing you don't know is you actually fight them at the same time.
Oh, fun.
So, yeah, there are a couple of battles like that where it's multiple major villains simultaneously.
See, now that's interesting. That's something you rarely get.
Yeah, and it's interesting because oftentimes there's an element of puzzle solving to that boss fight involving pitting, like, one attacking you in such a way that you can cause the other one to be vulnerable or get damaged. Or
so you use their attacks against the other guy, that kind of situation.
But it's like the arena you're in, the attacks they're giving, like your ability to counter. It's a bunch of stuff going on at once. You have to keep a lot of balls in the air, but it all moves so fluidly.
Yeah.
But anyway, long story short, going back to the humor, you're fighting both Electro and the Vulture at once.
Yep.
And you get a call from their boss, the guy who's like running at what's effectively the Sinister Six.
Yeah.
And he's asking for a report, and you go, sorry, it's like they're grounded, right? Because it's like Electro, he's grounded, and Vulture because he flies.
Yeah.
So it's a 2-for-1 pun.
Wow.
And it's like, oh my God, that's horrible. Like I have to, like, hats off, but Jesus Christ, I was not prepared for that. So all things considered, the There's like 25 or something different suits in the game. You research. You need different tokens from doing activities to unlock
different
them.
components for different things.
But it kind of reminds me, the mechanic is like Zaya, that board game. When you unlock the suit, it has a suit power. And then once you've unlocked that suit, that power can be mixed and matched with any suit that you have unlocked.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So each suit has its own power, which you can mix and match.
Are there slots in them? Or?
There are also mods that you can create, and those are just straight crafting, and those go in any suit. So you have a suit power, which is like your fury meter, right? Your Wrath of Sparta. And a bunch of them are in the game. There's like one for each suit. And then you have the mods, which... they unlock sporadically over the 50 levels you have in the game, and you can mix and match those depending on your situation. So that plus your actual skill tree and your gadgets. You have like a gadget wheel.
Shit. So it's a pretty meaty game under the surface.
Yeah, and each of your gadgets has like 5 different power-ups as well. So there is like an inventory meter for all of your gadgets. You're like your standard web shooter, which are like your fast web.
Yeah.
You have like an impact web, which is like knocks the guy over and splats him against the wall.
Yeah.
You have there's a tripwire web where like you attach it to a wall or you attach it to a guy, and when the beam crosses another guy, like slams them together. Or you can set up. And by the way, that's the other thing that I absolutely did not know going into this. There is a stealth mechanic in it. Like you are playing it kind of like Batman, where you're trying to web guys up.
And that's the thing from day one when they were showing how the gameplay worked. It reminded me like this is like Spider-Man Arkham City, basically.
Right.
Just, obviously brighter, more colorful, more quippy and stuff like that. But the overall feel and mechanics of it, you have a giant city, from rooftop to street level. Your grappling hook is your spider web. Like, you can beat up multiple guys at the same time, same type of combo situation. Big boss battles, like, throughout the city and stuff like that. So, yeah, it felt very much when I saw it like Spider-Man Arkham City. So is that kind of, that holds true?
Yeah, very much. I mean, it plays like Spider-Man instead of like Batman. Batman, he's like a technician in the fight, whereas Spider-Man...
and he's just a straight-up brawler. Like, he gets in and he, gets his fist dirty.
But that's the thing. Like, you play Arkham City, right? If you're just button mashing, you're fucked. It's all about timing and precision and technique. Whereas Spider-Man, it's like you're bouncing off the wall, you're flinging a guy across the room, a guy shoots a rocket at you, so you unlock the move to like web it and whip it back at the guy.
Yeah.
You grab a newspaper container and you sling it a guy across the street. You pick up one guy and you hit another guy with him.
That's the best.
I mean...
That's my favorite.
Yeah. There is a web bomb that you can do. You throw it out and it just explodes all over guys in the area, so it's like a big area of effect.
And they're just kind of stuck where they're standing.
If they're near a vehicle or a wall, they'll web against the wall and they'll be trapped. But half the time, if they're webbed up and they're just kind of, they'll break free after about 30 seconds.
Right.
But you can turn around and, like, combo them against a lamppost or a car that's overturned or something else, and they will, like, stick to it. You'll see them twitching, right?
That's awesome.
It is pretty awesome. And I mean, if you're like up in the rafters, you can web a guy up and he'll be just dangling there, you know, with mouth covered in, or you'll web him to a wall. Much like Batman, Spider-Man doesn't kill people.
Of course, yes.
So if you accidentally, one of the moves is you can like do like a web swing and you give him like the boot.
Yeah.
And you can knock him off roofs and things.
Yeah.
You see that if you look down, you watch the guy fall, he'll actually get webbed to the side of the building. Like, you'll see a web go out and he'll web to the side of the building. So you don't kill people.
Yeah.
It's it's very firmly in line with Spider-Man as an experience. It's the best Spider-Man game I've ever played.
Sweet. Yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to trying that one out.
Yeah, and I mean, you have fast travel in the game, but there's so many little things to do along the way, and there's always crimes to stop and stuff.
And the game just looks so great when you're swinging around. It's like, why would you fast travel?
Yeah, it feels good. So even if I'm going all the way down to the other end of the island, I usually just travel, right, and pick up stuff along the way, do other things. Yeah, but the fast travel is kind of neat too, because it sees, like, you see Spider-Man on the subway and he'd be like hanging out in his suit, looking at his phone, while guys are like, oh, yeah. So it definitely feels like a Spider-Man game and a Spider-Man environment.
Mimko wants the Punisher DLC where he comes up behind Spider-Man and shoots the webbed bad guys in the face. And then Daredevil will come out of nowhere and like wag his finger at him.
All right. So, I mean, and also the other thing is, like, each of the collectibles, there's various collectibles you get for doing things, which are like tokens, right? And then there's backpacks, which are like straight up collectibles.
Okay.
And like the conceit is that these are Peter Parker's backpacks that he webs against the building when he goes to fight crime.
Okay, yeah.
And then he forgets where they are. So there's like 55 in the game all over the place. And every time you get one, it's a different piece of Spider-Man lore, or like something from his past, something from this comic, a piece of the Shocker's armor that he figured out how to like protect himself against the electricity, like things like that.
That's cool.
It's very cool. And like, while it is largely its own sort of take on the Spider-Man universe, a lot of those are common things we see between like Ultimate Spider-Man, Spectacular Spider-Man, or whatever. So various reboots. But yeah, I mean, every part of the game looks and feels amazing. So, and you play not only as Spider-Man and Peter Parker, you play as Mary Jane, and you play as Miles Morales in like some stealth sequences and stuff too.
Okay.
It's pretty cool.
Sweet.
Yeah, and I've yet to see how it turns out, but I'm assuming at some point Miles Morales also gets spider powers and shit happens. But
I would think so.
Yeah. But yeah, so for anyone who was on the fence, and I was kind of hoping that it was going to be good, but I didn't know for sure, Spider-Man I would definitely endorse if you like superhero games or Spider-Man games or that kind of thing.
It just looks like a genuinely fun time out. So yeah.
Yeah, like and entertaining from the plot, from the actual gameplay, and you're beating the shit out of guys. It's great. Yeah. Lots of fun. Looks fantastic.
Cool.
Dick in a box. What was the point of that name kill?
Oh, look, here's a birthday present.
Here's Gwen Stacy. Yeah. Let the black cat...
Spider Dick.
That's the one thing. At one point, there is actually a sequence where Peter Parker, for whatever reason, actually says Spider-Man. And of course, I was laughing because of the whole sex act thing. So I was like, he says Spider-Man.
As long as he didn't throw his hand like that, too.
Kind of. But yeah, and going back to your previous point, you can actually give finger guns on the street.
Yes.
But you are not emo Peter Parker. You're just
whatever costume you're wearing. But yeah, you can literally walk down the street and like just point at everyone. I've seen plenty of gifs of that one, too.
High five and stuff. It's pretty cool. All right. So, since we're getting on with it now, this is Digital Fiasco. It is episode 39. We are going to talk about all the latest news in PlayStation, Xbox, PC, and Nintendo gaming. And for those of you who hadn't heard, Dandr0id is, of course, going to be out at... Which con are you out next week?
I'm going to be in Saskatoon. Saskatoon Comic-Con.
And the glitches, the glorious glitches?
Oh, yes. There's been some funny gifs of glitches from the game, too.
I haven't seen any glitches
So,
yet.
basically, the ones that I've seen, it's kind of like the cutscene goes through its animations of, like, where the player should be, but the model is frozen in a weird, contorted way, so they just kind of slide around the screen, and it's really weird and creepy looking, and... Or there's one where Spider-Man literally jumps out the window and like swings away, but he's crumpled up in a ball, so he's just like floating through the air as this like crumpled model.
No, I haven't seen anything like that. The one thing I have run into actually a couple times, and I'm sure they'll patch it, but there are a couple of times where the next sequence in a quest hasn't triggered, so you're just kind of wandering around.
Yeah, you're just like waiting.
But you load your last checkpoint, and it's like, okay, it just
automatically pops up then.
So it's like one of those, open world things where something didn't trigger, you go back and it does. And I haven't had anything game breaking yet. But anyway, so next week, what's the con you're at?
Saskatoon Comic-Con.
Saskatoon Comic-Con. Okay, so
I'm going to 3 Comic-Cons this month. So yeah,
it's a lot of Comic-Cons.
Yeah, it is. It's a lot. But there's business to be done and whatnot. So yeah, it's all good.
Yep. So the lovely Albill88, he'll be here next week to sit in for Digital Fiasco Live. Coincidentally, because apparently we have a 1 Albill limit, he is going to be unavailable on Tuesday. So
just like the Pun Pass, it's 1 per week.
Right, apparently so. So he will not be here Tuesday next week, so I'll be filling in, or Claytoon will be one or the other. I don't think Kelly wants to sit down across from me. He's afraid of what I'll say about his nerdery. In any case. So hopefully you'll enjoy your Saskatoon Comic-Con.
Yes, absolutely.
See if that will be...
So it's a new one for me, so I'm sure it'll be a good time.
Sweet. All right, so what is... Okay, that pen is not working
very well. Is your pen screwing up?
A little bit. That's okay. So, what is new and exciting in the Triple D?
Well, this week... Jack leaves, and there he goes. He's going to the fridge. He's in the end zone. touchdown! He's got a beer! Woo! And the Jack goes wild. Yeah, so this week in the Triple D, we have stuff for the sports fans, apparently. Again, I don't keep track on a lot of these ones because I don't really play a lot of sports games, but this seems to be, I guess it's fall. That's when a slew of the sports games come out.
It is, in fact, fall.
So we have...
officially.
NBA 2K19.
And unofficially.
And that one comes out on, I believe, on Tuesday for pretty much all the systems. We also have...
Pardon me, that 11th is for the Switch. It comes out for the Switch on the 11th.
Oh, okay.
Which is what, Wednesday?
I was going to say that's Nintendo and their weird release dates for things. So we have
11th is tomorrow.
We have that. Yeah. Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Tomorrow's the 11th.
Then it's all on Tuesday then.
Yes.
And then we also have NHL 19. So if you're not into the whole basketball thing, then you can go for hockey instead, because you know hockey season's coming up and whatnot. But of course, we're here for normal games, not just sports games.
Yes.
And this is a big one. And again, I was talking to you just before the show about this one. Kind of flew under my radar, I think, just because of all the Spider-Man fandom that's been going on. Spider-Man. But we have Shadow of the Tomb Raider coming out on Friday.
Yeah, and I was a big fan of Rise of the Tomb Raider and the original. Not the original, but the rebooted Tomb Raider.
It's just called Tomb Raider, but yeah, it was like Tomb Raider 2016 or whatever.
Yeah, typically when they rebrand it and just...
They'll quote the year that it came out, and that's kind of how you find that one, yeah.
Did you go see that movie with Alicia Vikander in it?
No, I didn't. Actually, my brother-in-law did, and he said it was quite good. I heard basically if you like the game, you'll probably like the movie.
I heard it was decent.
Yeah, like it's a much better portrayal, not only of Lara Croft, but just a better rendition of a video game movie.
Because it hewed very closely to that reboot, as I understand it.
Yeah, like even watching the trailer, you recognize scenes from the game in that fucking movie. So yeah.
Sure.
And but yeah, this one I don't know as much about because again, I kind of fell behind on Tomb Raider. I played the first one, and then never got around to actually playing the second one because I liked the first one. It wasn't as great as everyone had told me it was, but it was good. It was good.
Rise of the Tomb Raider was definitely an improvement over the first one.
Yeah, see, that's what kind of made me think, oh yeah, maybe I should go on and play the next one because it you know, improved in kind of the different ways and whatnot.
Definitely.
But yeah, the third, I think it's closing out that trilogy or whatever. Shadow of the Tomb Raider, something comes out on Friday. I
have a feeling that they're just going to move on to like I don't think they're going to go back to what they call classic Lara Croft anymore.
Yeah,
this is now the new
that very much so. Yeah.
Yeah. This is now the prime timeline.
Yep.
Prime line.
And and there was this other one. You may know more about this game than I do. I just remember hearing this title and seeing a trailer a while back and getting excited for it. What?
Main Kill Destroy. Is Walton Goggins in that Tomb Raider movie? Because he is awesome.
Well, he says he's awesome, and I think that's what he's talking about. So.
Walton Goggins is basically right up there with Todd Stashwick, but less attractive in terms of great character actors.
He says, "Yep, yes, he
that's
is."
Great.
So there
that's
you go.
Fantastic.
So there you go. You definitely have to watch that one.
Yes.
Then. And then and there's another one called Boundless. And from what I recall of this one,
we talked about that.
This was like a PS4 like Minecraft-esque thing, but you travel between worlds through these time gates and everything.
If you remember, we had kind of reacted positively to that one. I want to say.
Was it last E3 or something?
Yeah, I think it wasn't E3. I think it was 2 PSXs ago. I think it was like the year before last. We looked at that and went, oh, man, that looks pretty cool with the whole Minecraft-y aspect and the portals and the different worlds and stuff.
Yeah.
Now, in hindsight, now that I'm watching the trailers now, I think it's missed its window.
Yeah.
I think, like, first of all, Minecraft, everyone's played Minecraft.
Second of all, and that's the whole thing. As soon as you saw it, you can see it was leaning heavily on kind of the crafting, exploratory aspect of those type of games.
Yeah, and I have had my fill of going to different worlds and mining them in another game.
Yeah, no kidding.
That also had, spaceships and combat in space. So I can't see this one now really finding its feet like it would have a couple of years back. If it had come out like when they showed that trailer, like 3 months later, it probably would have done pretty well.
Yeah, exactly, because it would have been in that window of like, oh hey, all these crafting games are the hot ticket right now. Let's do that. But I
don't know.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, but hey, you know what? It may still have something left up its sleeve. Who knows?
A couple other things that are coming out for Switch on the 13th, which is, I believe, Thursday. Thursday is apparently a big release day for them.
Okay.
They have Bastion coming out for Switch finally.
Oh,
great game.
If you haven't played that, then yeah, go for that, Switch users.
Great game, good soundtrack, great soundtrack. They have Danger Mouse, the game. Like, Danger Mouse, like the cartoon Danger Mouse.
Wow, really?
There's like a brand new cartoon in Danger Mouse. It's on Netflix and stuff. It's like brand new.
I had no idea.
Yeah, not like the mid '80s one, right? Surgeon Simulator is coming to the Switch
with
right?
the Joy-Cons and
yeah.
everything. Oh.
Like if 1-2
we might have to play that. We might have to play it on a 12-hour stream.
Oh
I think that would
God.
be really entertaining.
Well, you know, the last time I bought ARMS because that would be funny on the 12-hour stream and. Switch games are not cheap. Wasteland 2 is also coming out to Switch on Thursday, and that's a great game as well. And you know, that's I think what you don't really see a lot of on the Switch is like the big full-fledged RPG things. You got Skyrim, which is good. You got, Is there Fallout? No, there's Skyrim, no Fallout.
No Fallout. But I mean, as far as RPG goes, they have a few of the JRPGs on there too that we've seen. So there is some of that content on there.
Yep. All right. Let us, Danger Mouse, really, with Penfold and whatever the frog. I don't remember what the goddamn thing is.
It's so old. Yeah, I honestly don't remember anything about it.
Yeah, it's been a long friggin' time. So yeah, Danger Mouse, if you can believe that. I didn't even know that was still a thing, but apparently, you know, someone likes the license. Everything old is new again. All right, so let's talk about Spider-Man a little bit.
Oh, do we have to?
I know. So, fun fact, this is apparently, and I can pretty much verify this because I'm thinking back, I was trying to go through all the Marvel games. This is the first Marvel game that has actually earned permission from Marvel to feature the Marvel Studios logo in the front. So it actually has like the comics flipping Marvel on it.
Oh, and that makes sense. I mean, there's such a powerhouse name with Disney backing them and everything like that, and everybody's, you know, they're all about superheroes. They're all about especially the Marvel universe with just how big they've been and everything. Yeah, so they're unlike before, like back in the day, where they would just kind of ship their licenses to whoever, and they're like, yeah, go ahead and make a game. Who the fuck cares? Whatever. Now it's very, very serious business. They want to put a good name, like behind all of them, so they want to make sure that that stands up to the quality that they're putting out with their movies.
Right. Plus, this one is of particular quality. Like, there's never been a better Marvel game. If you actually go,
and I mean,
numbers,
honestly, how long has Insomniac been working on this now?
A couple of years at least. I mean, we heard about it two E3s ago, basically. I think.
Yeah, I think so.
I think something like that. But so here's the thing: reviews are great. It's right now. It's sitting at
welcome to the chat.
How you doing? We're talking about Spider-Man on the PS4. How you doing today? I don't know whose emote is that. Marvel vs. Capcom games? Yeah, they didn't have that logo at the beginning. They were good, but not this good.
I don't think Marvel wanted to put their name in front of that too, just because it also included Capcom. It was very just kind of campy fan fiction kind of stuff that was going on in those ones.
I think it honestly has to do with, first of all, they were very impressed by it. It was only very late in the game's production that they actually got that permission.
Yeah.
But the second thing is because it is such a cinematic experience, I think it's just natural.
I guess so,
right?
yeah.
So get this. Right now it's sitting at a Metacritic score of 87. So that makes it the highest rated Spider-Man game ever made. That also makes it, right now the sales... They're frankly disgusting.
I know.
Reports are apparently that Spider-Man has sold more in its launch week than any other game this year.
Yeah.
So any other exclusive for Sony, including God of War, it's selling twice as fast as God of War.
That's insane.
Which was stupid fast.
Yeah.
It is the fastest selling Spider-Man game ever. It is the fastest selling Marvel game ever, beating Lego Marvel Superheroes by a significant margin. And some reports right now have it as the fastest selling game of 2018 so far, beating the previous top dog, which was Far Cry 5. I think that was in February.
Yeah.
So we don't have sales numbers in all the regions yet, but I mean, by all reports, it's going to top the sales chart in September. But rumor is that it sold out. It was selling so quickly that at one point Amazon was entirely sold out.
Holy shit.
Yeah, like Amazon.com was entirely sold out. So that's kind of crazy.
Yes. Yeah, tonight's Digital Fiasco is brought to you by Spider-Man.
Yeah, no. Yeah, I wish I was getting a cut for this. I would have the logo up. It would be the whole thing. Yeah. Right, lean into it. Fuck it. It was a good game. It's worth promoting. I think everyone should definitely go check it out.
Yeah.
But another dubious owner it has is it has a very good contender for the world's saddest Easter egg.
Oh, yes,
you
of
heard
course.
About this?
Yes,
okay.
I did.
So, middle of the year, this guy tweets Insomniac. It says, I want to ask my girlfriend to marry me. Can you put Madison, will you marry me? Somewhere in the game.
Yeah.
And, so they played along. They put it up on a marquee in the theater. Game came out. And the guy is like, oh, well, we broke up like 7 weeks ago. Or something. And it's like, oh, well, crap.
Yep.
So they're giving him now the opportunity. They're going to, like, change it out in a patch so the sign says something different. He's apparently going to put up, like, his grandmother's name.
Oh, yeah.
Which, it's the big, tear-jerking story. Apparently his grandmother bought him his first Spider-Man comic as a kid. And it's like, oh, okay. That's kind of nice.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah.
I mean, it was, it sucked because I was reading and I was like, oh, that's really cool that they did that. And that really sucks that not only did they break up, but she ended up fucking going out with his brother or something like that. It's like, Jesus Christ.
Now here's the thing, right? Apparently they had, whatever the relationship was, there's, like, mixed reports. But apparently that people are, like, shitting on her all over Twitter and stuff. But so she came back and gave a bunch of ugly details about, like, okay, I didn't want to know that.
Yeah,
so just let this one go. But anyway. Some information about the DLC that's coming up, the DLC trilogy, The City That Never Sleeps. We talked about that. I think the first one's October, November, December.
Right, and we're seeing they had introduced Black Cat as a... Is she a playable character?
No, there is one of the set of collectibles is a bunch of her crime scenes. You're trying to follow her.
Oh, okay.
So you find all of her surveillance points, and you try to spot the place on the map where she has, like, jimmied open a door and stolen some shit.
Okay.
And as a result, you jump through a bunch of hoops, basically.
Yeah.
I don't want to spoil it, but anyway.
I was gonna say this: if she's not a playable character, they should give Peter Parker a Black Cat costume. Then just a nice deep V and, like,
you get a custom Spider-Man outfit that is styled in that style. It does not have a deep V. Like the deep V Spider-Man should come with gold chains and, like, a hairy chest.
That would be awesome.
No.
So it's like a Black Cat Spider-Man costume. Okay.
Like, I think it's called Black Spider or something.
Okay, yeah.
So, fun fact: in the shirtless Spider-Man bit, in the actual game, they talk about how he only has, like, 3 chest hairs.
Yeah.
If you look really, really closely, he actually does. They put in specifically 3 chest hairs.
Oh my god!
Like,
that's awesome.
Attention to detail for Insomniac. Like, fucking hats off to these guys. Anyway, so The City That Never Sleeps starts in October. There was some question about, if you look at the map, there's, like, some of the other boroughs they have actual, like, map on, but you can't get to it.
Oh, okay.
So they've confirmed that all of the DLC will only take place within Manhattan. So there'll be no new map areas.
That makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, the map is detailed enough as it is, and it goes through a lot of change. So I think it's good enough that they did that. So all things considered, I don't need more map. I was kind of thinking that too.
Well, and honestly, I mean, they spent so much time and effort making that map, and it looks fucking gorgeous from any angle. Like, every time I see a selfie, like a Spider-Man selfie, or just people swinging around, stuff like that, the entire map looks so gorgeous that it's like, yeah, let's just spend more time there. I mean, why not?
And there's a lot of recognizable landmarks in Spider-Man lore. Like,
that was the coolest part. Just seeing some of the Easter eggs that are hidden throughout Manhattan of, like, different locations and different little signs and stuff like that.
And Peter will comment stuff. He'll, like, reminisce about, I remember when something here.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
I fought that guy, and this came down. And he'll actually, like, talk about things sort of, like, externally verbalizing it. So let's move on. We passed our Spider-Man quota for the day, I think. So the Horizon Zero Dawn board game Kickstarter has launched as of last weekend. And already it is up to approximately $1.3 million Canadian, or the equivalent.
Jeez.
Yeah, and it's only been up for a couple of days. It has 17 days to go. So a little over 2 weeks. It's already unlocked 17 stretch goals. The base pledge is £100, which is roughly $170 Canadian. It comes with 110 miniatures, roughly worth £235 before you add in the stretch goals. And there are so many stretch goals right now. With the base set, you get the Horizon Zero Dawn board game. You get the Lawless Badlands expansion, which has a bunch of bandits and shit. You have the Sacred Land expansion, which have a bunch of additional plastic in it, and the Kickstarter exclusive Aloy model, and then of course all the stretch goals. If that's not enough plastic for you, because already it's making me very poor.
It would be more than this table could fit, probably.
Oh, it's a substantial portion of it. There are a number of expansions already available to purchase. There is the Frozen Wilds expansion, which comes with an additional Scorcher and Frostclaw models, 2 additional Banuk Hunters, and tiles, tracking cards, additional abilities and equipment. There's also, that one's £40. Thunderjaw expansion and Stormbird expansion, both of those are £35 each, and then Fireclaw and Rockbreaker expansion. Each one only comes with one of the figures, but the figures are huge.
They're the gigantic, like they're this giant mound of plastic.
It is a huge hunk of plastic, and each one comes with figure, the rules, tiles, and special cards. The Fireclaw and the Rockbreaker are £30 each, and you can get extra dice for 8.
I'm sure they weigh about 30 pounds.
Yeah. So if I go all in, I already I got the early bird pledge. If I go all in on everything, it's going to cost me the equivalent of about $400 Canadian, and that'll be like a year from now. I will have an additional 18 pounds of plastic to paint,
and we can play it on a 12-hour stream.
Exactly. Like God, I've got so many things to paint as it is. Like I just bury me in them. Anyway, so check that out. It's on Kickstarter. It's available for 17 more days. If you have like $400 to throw away, the miniatures are amazing.
Well, what's the buy-in though? Like, what's the
$100 right now? $100. Oh, actually, pardon me, £100, which is $170 Canadian.
Okay.
So, yeah, the Rand Tower is there, as well as the Avengers Tower is there for Spider-Man. But we've already reached our quota. Sorry, man, kill.
They also have the Matt Murdock like little placard thing on a door somewhere, like I guess of his business and everything. So.
Yep. All right. So specifically for Maimkill, this would be good news. Halo 5. There has been a recent reprint that was available for the Xbox One, and it's got some curious changes on the box art that someone spotted in their Amazon listing. So previously, Halo 5 Guardians was listed as...
Oh, yes. Sorry to interrupt. We have to mention ZipRecruiter. That they're not...
No,
they're not sponsoring us.
No, we don't.
Not yet.
So it was previously labeled only on Xbox One.
Yeah.
It's now rebranded as Xbox One console exclusive. Now, that's a very specific language, which we've watched so many Microsoft conferences. That's the language they use when you see a game also available on PC.
Yeah.
So the rumor is, and the thinking is, that it's been rebranded this way because Halo 5 is going to be coming to PC.
Yeah. As, you know, like, again, it's one of those weird situations in my mind anyways. It's like people are sitting there just salivating over getting their Halo games on PC. And Microsoft just always seems to have this thing about holding them back and holding them back. We're like, no, just buy an Xbox. You can play them on there. It's like, dude, just... put them on PC. That's where everyone wants to fucking play them.
Well, right now,
just put them on there. You're missing out on so many fucking sales from not doing it.
That right now is the driver for people buying Xboxes. For people who love Halo, who do not have an Xbox One, the only way to get like the Master Chief Collection is on an Xbox One.
Yeah, and even Maimkill's like, good, fuck your underpowered TV box.
So I'm really hoping, right, if they're bringing Halo 5, you know, is now that they're doing like Halo, like the Master Chief Collection as part of the Game Pass, is there a possibility they're also going to look at it as a Play Anywhere title where you can get Master Chief Collection for PC?
I think with this one slipping on it, like I think eventually they've just got it.
I hope so.
Give that option to players, because ultimately, if you're a PC, you're not bending on it, like you're not buying an Xbox or a PlayStation or whatever. Go do it. Like, release these games because you're missing out on those sales. There are people who absolutely want to have all of the Halo games on their PC so they can play them all in one place. Just like I like all the shit like remastered and everything on PS4. I love to have it all in one place so I can play it all in the same thing.
Definitely. Like Yakuza will eventually be. Fingers crossed. Okay. So, where are we? I
don't know. You wrote to scribble on the page.
Yeah, I was writing down the time codes. So we got some more information about Darksiders 3. So THQ Nordic, of course, they bought the Darksiders franchise. They bought that IP. They released the War Master Edition of Darksiders 1, the Definitive Edition.
Yep, the creatively named Definitive
Edition. And you know, and I still have a lot of fucking collectible farming and bullshit there to do. Anyway, Darksiders 3 is going to be out very soon. That's going to be towards the end of this year. We got some more information about the plot and some of the mechanics of the game. So, of course, it's about Fury, right? One of the other horsemen, or in this case, horsewoman. She is going on a quest to defeat the personifications of the 7 deadly sins. And Fury, unlike Death and War were both very sort of brawly.
Yeah.
Fury is more tactical. She's a mage, she has her whip, and she has magic. So it's her play style is more to keep enemies at a distance.
Okay.
And I find it interesting that they're actually doing this because it definitely makes each of the characters feel individually. So if they're going to do like a 4-player co-op thing,
yeah,
each one would have their own style.
Absolutely, because
right?
when you look at it this way, we already know who the 4 horsemen are. They've already kind of like put them out there and everything like that. So you have War, who's like the heavy like brawler, heavy sword, armored guy. He's the tank. You like walk in there. Then you have Death, who's the DPS character, so he's more lightly armored, but he's faster and slashier.
Yep.
So way more damage, but he can get killed easier. And then, of course, you're going to have Fury, who's kind of a balance. So I think that whip also turns into a sword, so she's going to do some melee damage, but also some magic damage. And then you're going to have Strife, who's going to be a pure distance user because he uses guns.
Yes.
So yeah, you have kind of that broad spectrum of all these different types of characters.
So apparently Fury, because she is more effective at a distance, a lot of her environments are going to have more vantage points, so you'll be able to like take out enemies like one at a time instead of fighting them all as a group.
Right.
It's a more methodical approach. So they say that getting surrounded by foes can spell a quick defeat, but even an individual foe can be challenging. So it's all about sort of approaching each sequence strategically. So it kind of like a Bloodborne. Also, she's very much a counterpuncher where you can like counter an attack and then hit for massive damage. It's highly historically accurate. So they've also backed off a little from the Diablo-esque style loot system from the second game.
Yeah,
where like you just pick up shit everywhere.
Good, because that was
a little much.
It was gratuitous because it didn't serve a purpose.
Well, I mean, it was interesting, but it was like there was so much.
Yeah, there was just way too much.
Yeah. So
I like loot as much as the next person, but holy shit.
So the loot now will fall somewhere between Darksiders 1 and 2, whereas 1 you got occasionally you got an extra weapon, and like you got no armor at all, except I think twice in the game you got a power up.
It was unlocked through doing the story basically, whereas in the second one you constantly swapped out your weapons, your armor, your abilities, and all that stuff.
And then you had like the whole legendary system where you fed them things.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's somewhere in between, which is good. Here's a point that really rubs me the wrong way.
Is it collectibles?
It is not.
Okay.
Not directly though. Senior designer Richard Verratti, he brought up a weird design decision.
Okay.
So, and right off the top, we don't have a map system of any kind in the game.
Ooh.
Yeah. We're not a huge fan of maps. We don't think players like them either. Richard, you're wrong, first of all. We want players to get lost. We think the fun comes from finding your way and spending time in the world to uncover secrets. You still need to have some guidance, and that's what the points of interest offer. Okay, first of all, as someone who is literally playing Darksiders 2 a week and a half ago, I got lost enough with a minimap.
Yeah, exactly. Now, to be fair, the difference between Darksiders 1 and Darksiders 2 is like night and day, because the second one is very open world compared to the first one. Much, much bigger. There's more catacombs and dungeons and all that kind of stuff going on.
A lot more hub and spoke.
Yeah, so it's like if you had one or the other to give a map to, it would obviously be that one. But even if they shrunk this one down again to be a little more like the first game, still put a fucking map in there. I get it if you don't want the whole mini-map on the screen actively doing shit like while you're running around or anything. Yeah. That's fine. That is starting to kind of go the wayside. They give you options to turn that stuff off.
You know what? I'm okay with that.
That's the whole thing.
I like that.
Give them an option to turn it off. But still, if I pause, I should have a map somewhere to reference.
And I mean, especially in games like this, which is like a Metroid-style game, you're crossing over your own path.
Constantly going back to unlock with new weapons and new abilities and stuff like that.
How the hell are you going to pay attention to, oh, I saw this kind of door or this device that I don't recognize?
Yeah.
And, eventually you remember what it is. And how are you going to find your way back there without a map?
It's honestly one of the only issues that I'm having with the Surge so far is that I don't have a map, so I have to visually memorize where I'm going, and that's why I didn't even realize there was that one set of stairs I hadn't been down before because I was being attacked by something else. Completely went the wayside. So it's like I couldn't reference a map saying, oh, there's this foggy part on the map that I haven't been to yet, like that kind of thing.
And if you're the kind of person that does achievement hunting and trophy hunting, there's going to be collectibles in the game. You know there's going to be fucking collectibles in the game. How do you find where these collectibles
sit
are?
Sit there and scrape against every single fucking wall in the game, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, because that's what I find is fun. So I'm hoping, I think it's a little late in the game for them to implement a map feature. I'm really hoping that maybe they just have one and they turned it off and they, oh, okay, yeah, map.
Yeah, like I'm hoping that there was kind of like a basic version of it while they were building the game. They're like, people don't want this, but then it's still sitting there kind of on the back burner, and then they could implement it if they needed to.
I am not very happy at all that there's not going to be a map. Anyway, game releases November 27th. I might be done with Red Dead by then. We'll see. Jesus Christ. Okay, so Metro.
What about it? Are you just want to mention it because it's your favorite fucking series ever? Or?
It's not my favorite ever, but it's definitely a favorite.
It's up there with Yakuza.
I wouldn't say that. Yakuza, no, Yakuza is special, but Metro is awesome.
Well, just every time we
love
talk about Metro or somebody asks you about it, you just you light up.
Metro is a great game. Don't get me wrong, but I mean, if you look at the levels, Yakuza is just amazing for good and bad reasons. It's amazing. Anyway, I have a chicken sells real estate. Anyway, so Metro Exodus. There was actually an interview given to Games TM magazine. Hugh Benyon, he's the head of global brand management at Deep Silver. He revealed that Metro Exodus is bigger than the previous two games combined.
Okay.
So he says we're looking at total playtime of both the previous games combined in terms of geographical footprint. As we've moved these to more open areas, we can pretty much fit the entirety of the first two games in terms of footprint into just one of our huge levels. So already it's like geographically huge.
I'm honestly not surprised just because of how old the past games were. Like we've come so far in not only game design, but just what we can actually do in a game now. So
and they were pretty linear too.
Yeah, and they were very linear. So yeah, like I'm not surprised in the slightest that this is going to just dwarf the other games.
Yeah, so here's the fun thing. The last two games came in at about 12 gigabytes each. We're actually, they say they're actually struggling to fit Metro Exodus onto a single Blu-ray. So it is a massive increase in scale for the studio. They say it's roughly, it's over twice the length in terms of time to beat.
Okay.
But it's not just padded out with fetch quests. They literally say this. It's not like we have a sign up on the screen that says, go here, do this, fetch that. We still try to integrate everything naturally. There's all sorts of stuff you can just come across naturally and explore for yourself rather than being told to, like, go fetch 10 of those things. we didn't want to, and we don't do that kind of stuff.
That's good. That's the worst. That it just shows such a lack of creativity when it's one thing to have side quests. Like side quests are like a necessity in a game like that. It helps to kind of flesh out the world and everything, and adds a little meat to the substance of the game. But if you just do it so that the side quests either don't feel organic to the game, or they feel completely pointless, that's exactly what they're going to be. They're going to be thrown aside because nobody's going to care to do them.
Yeah. Main Kill Destroy, there's a discussion going on in the chat regarding whether or not maps are required. And Main Kill Destroy is trying to play the old school gamer card about not having a maps. We lived through it. And Jay Tanuki has a point, right? Games were a lot smaller and way more linear. They certainly weren't 3D back then.
Yeah.
And with Darksiders, when you have like literally areas open up and paths that are opening that are different, you're crossing your own path multiple times. It's a whole different world. Faxanadu was a side-scrolling game that was not that complicated. It involved some exploration, but I really like that game. I still have it over there in the library.
And when you're dealing with a 2D game, all you need is some graph paper, and then you can just block it out. And
I have whole binders full of graph paper from my NES and Sega Master System days. Yeah. Just be over here in the World of Warcraft expansion in the woods killing boars.
Don't forget to kill 20 of them.
Yeah, rat tails. Bring me some skins. So anyway, he says that Exodus strikes a balance between linear levels and open world to prevent a larger shock to the system for ourselves and for our fans. He says, with the formula we have now, we found a way to contain a story arc and progression through these big open areas, and that's very, very well defined. So it's still very atmospheric and tense. Just because it's now semi-open world, you're still going to shit yourself.
I think it's honestly couldn't be worse.
Because you never know where the attack's
coming
from.
Because in linear, it's almost like, okay, I know I'm in this area and I'm going this way, so there's something in my way. Yep. But if you're going like full open world, then it's kind of like, oh shit.
Never go full open world.
Things that come at you from any angle, and
All right. So you know what we haven't talked about in like a few weeks?
Spider-Man. No, wait. We talked about it at the top of the show.
Loot boxes.
Oh, God.
So way back in May, right? We're talking about
the loot box corner, everyone.
Yeah, we're talking about the Belgian Gaming Commission's ruling that several publishers should be held, that should actually be prosecuted for violating the laws against gambling.
Yes, because they have their law in full swing now.
That's like since November of last year they've had this. So anyway, a bunch of the publishers either removed loot boxes entirely or changed the way they work. 2K has made changes in NBA 2K19 to their card packs, which are like their version of loot boxes. So where you used to be able to buy them with premium currency or with virtual credits, which are, I guess, money that you like in the store you buy.
Yeah.
Now they can only be bought using My Team points, which are just earned through regular play. But 2K isn't really 100% satisfied with this.
No, of course they're not, because they're not making their fat coin off of it.
so showing they've got their finger on the pulse of gaming and what gamers want, they now have a message for Belgian gamers. Please help us get this message to your representatives that you want loot boxes in your games. If you do, talk to your representatives, call them up, say, we want loot boxes in games.
I read that last week and I was just shocked. Like I sat there for a couple minutes after thinking, I'm like, what?
Yeah,
are you fucking kidding me?
This is the best thing they could come up with. They're like in the boardroom and go, maybe we just get people to ask for it.
Maybe if we ask them really nicely.
Their strategy, I mean, like,
oh my God.
Think about it. Their strategy is they're relying on a public groundswell of support to just force government into bringing back loot boxes to screw the customer?
Are they completely out of ideas now? What did they do in that boardroom? All right, here's the whiteboard. Let's write down ideas of how we can get these loot boxes rolling again. And the only one they came up with was like, ask pretty please. Like,
well, I mean, I could see how they might think in today's environment, how logic might go out the window. Maybe it'll work.
Yeah. Oh, James Marine, I want to make that sign just to hang up.
Yeah.
We want loot boxes, said no one ever.
Nope. All right.
It was just, I was just absolutely stunned when I read that. I was like, wow.
Yep.
That's like the lamest way you could have gone about that, guys. Way to go.
Yep. And speaking of things that no one wanted ever or asked for, the Call of Duty Black Ops 4 Blackout mode, their version of Battle Royale, that launches today, the beta for PS4.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, I don't think the game comes out yet. So
not till November, but till October, but the beta for PS4 owners. If you've pre-booked the game, you can now start, as of today, playing the Blackout mode. Apparently, it currently supports 80 people, and according to Treyarch, that number might go up.
I was going to say, because they probably want to get on the same level as all the other battle royales, so you want to get that up to 100 people.
Yeah. So during internal testing, Treyarch has actually had it up to 100, and the studio says the beta's current feature list is merely the beginning of something. So they want to stack up against Fortnite and PUBG,
of course.
And very real possibility is they've done internal testing for up to 100. They could hit that number and possibly more. Who knows? I think 100 is the golden number, right? So they have some.
It really is, because I mean, at this point, like if you go up to 100, that's like on par with everything else.
Right.
You go to like 120 or something like that, as you kind of gloat about it. You're like, yeah, we have 120, whereas those guys only have 100. But then,
great, you're mad.
If it ultimately breaks your console or your system, or just like if it's a detriment to how the game is actually played, then there's really no point in going that high.
And I can only imagine that as your game gets more and more aged, like you're not going to have 256 people in a server, right?
And you know what? Again, it goes back to my whole kind of theory on these type of games and stuff like that. Sure, they're wildly popular and everything like that, but again, it's for now, it's you know, whatever's going on right now. In my mindset, though, 100 is like, I honestly think their round should be like, you know, 50 or 60 tops, because everyone's just like, oh, well, it's not like these guys that have 100. Yeah, but what's the difference between that extra 40 people?
Yeah.
I mean, unless you're first place in that fucking round, there's no point, because you die and you go on to the next round. You could spend half an hour slowly crawling through weeds and stuff like that to like try to hunt the second place guy and stuff like that. He ends up killing you. You just spent half an hour doing nothing. Well, you didn't win.
Well, yeah, but I mean, that's the same logic in PUBG and Fortnite, right?
No, that's my point, though, is that in the Battle Royale ones like that, unlike a team deathmatch or like a classic deathmatch type of thing, you count your kills, you count whatever, and like you kind of carry on, and it's like however much you can do within this time space and everything like that. They keep those stats, but that's not the point of a Battle Royale. The point of a Battle Royale is to come out in first place. Yeah. So you spend half an hour playing around, and you don't come in first place. In my mindset, anyways, when I'm playing, I'm like, wow, that was half an hour of just pure disappointment. On to the next round.
Yeah, but to be fair, then if you're the person that thinks that way, you're probably not the target audience that likes these kind of games.
No, obviously not.
Yeah. But I mean, I'd actually have to look at the stats. Like, what is the average time of a PUBG round or a Fortnite round for 100 people?
All I know is when I've played it the few different times, I mean, if you're really in it and you get into that kind of top 20, top 10 kind of area, you can easily spend like 15 to 20 minutes doing that.
So, it's even faster than I thought. I was thinking like an hour.
Well, again, it depends on who you're playing against, but it also depends on the storm too, or whatever version you're playing. But that will close in on you, so you can choose how long that time that takes and everything.
Yeah, I wonder what the stats are for the Blackout for the closing arena.
Yeah.
So let's stack that up against Firestorm, which is the Battlefield 5 version. Apparently, Battlefield 5, they're doing something slightly different. Firestorm has 16 teams of 4, so they top out at 64 players, and it's team-based play only. There is no,
and you know what, that's classic for Battlefield too, because a lot of their full-size battles have been 64 tickets or whatever, or 64 players, or
I don't know. I don't even know why they did that, honestly, but
I think it was because they're in the same mindset as me, is that they want to do something different. They don't want to copy the other guy, you know, note for note.
You know what? Fuck it. If you're doing a battle royale game, just lean into it. Like.
But that's the whole thing. Expand on the Battle Royale. Don't copy the exact same thing. So this is a Battle Royale with teams.
Anyway.
Sure.
Yeah, so the PlayStation 1 started today. Xbox One and PC players can join in the action on Friday, September the 14th, starting at noon Central Time if you've pre-booked the game. The whole thing draws to a close September the 17th at noon, which is, I believe, next Monday. Is that next Monday? Next Monday, yeah. All right. THQ Nordic. Being the
what they do, they're awesome. I love them.
They are awesome. Except for possibly with Darksiders, we'll see. Darksiders maps that could change my whole viewpoint on Darksiders.
Amazing game, except fuck it, it doesn't have a map.
Oh my god, it's like the original Infamous with the blast shard on the fucking R3 button. Ooh. Anyway, THQ Nordic actually just acquired another franchise. They just keep like rolling over and picking up these franchises.
I mean, they kind of have to. They have to make up that ground that they lost when they folded.
So many though. Well, it's not the same company, right? It was Nordic Games, and then they rebranded as THQ.
They're under THQ. Yeah. They're in my mindset, they're THQ now, and I used to love THQ back in the day, so I'm really hoping that they can move forward and
hopefully they do better.
Yeah,
do better than THQ. But
really
anyway,
storm the gates this time,
right? Well, I mean, they have all the Volition crew, they have most of the Vigil crew, so they're actually getting studios as well as IPs and stuff. So they just picked up the rights to 38 Studios' Kingdoms of Amalur: Reckoning.
Okay,
which is the one Kurt Schilling, the whole tax scandal and the whole bit. Was New Jersey or fuck New Jersey? You heard me. Anyway. So they just bought that franchise, which is great because that was a great game. I really like that. The only problem is that EA owns the publishing rights to the original game.
Oh, okay.
So effectively right now, THQ owns the IP. If they want to do a rebranding or pretty much like a reboot or a re-release of the original game, they've got to either secure the rights from EA or work out a deal with EA something. So THQ Nordic said, at this stage, we only acquired the IP. Given our track record, we know that what the burning questions are, but we decided not to answer those specifically as we tend to put our heads together first and then do our homework, only start to talk about anything once we feel confident and very familiar with the franchise. So I'm hoping that they do eventually work out something with EA, because the original, it was a really good game. It looked great on like modern consoles.
And I think it's one of those situations too where it's just like, you know, ultimately EA likes money, and if they're not going to do anything with the fucking game, you might as well sell that off.
Right, and I'm sure they can work out something. I mean, you know, there's always money to be had.
Yeah, and good point, Mame Kill. I mean, that's the one I'm still holding out for, is that THQ made all of the best wrestling games of all time, and I'm really hoping that they can eventually get around to maybe making one of those again.
Who makes the more recent, like the PS3 and onward, those
Isn't
wrestling
that
games?
Acclaim? No, Acclaim did another series. Who makes the newer ones?
Because the current ones...
Activision, isn't it?
I don't know. They're not great.
Yeah, no, and that's the whole thing.
They've not been great for years.
It hasn't. That's why I'm so pissed off. It's just like, it's like somebody has a lockdown on the fucking licensing, and they make shit games, and that means no one else can make a good fucking wrestling game now.
You said Acclaim. I don't think Acclaim is a thing anymore, but it's...
Or was it Active? I don't remember who makes all the new wrestling games.
I could go look at the shelf. I could see it from here. It doesn't matter. It's gonna bother me, but yeah, they're not great. I think the last one that I enjoyed was 2007, where you had and
that's when I was looking at lists of like good wrestling games. I think that was the one that actually came up,
because you had like the full plot mode. You had your create a character thing. You could see him in the plots and stuff. It was awesome.
Yeah, exactly.
You had like a whole franchise mode where you're like going through years and seasons and crap. I missed that game. Hasn't been one good since.
No, and it's really publishers 2K Sports. The developer is Yuke's Visual Concepts.
Oh, right. Not great.
Yeah. Because I think their pedigree goes all the way back to like PlayStation 1. I think they made like the SmackDown and Raw games and stuff like that. So, yeah.
All I know is that the since 2007 I haven't enjoyed them as much.
Genius Marine is talking about flashbacks of N64 wrestling games.
Oh, yes. Hooking our legs and pulling us out of the ring. We used to play like the big battle royales and whatnot, and one of our friends, he found it hilarious to get eliminated early and just stay outside the ring
and just scoop at your legs.
like one person specifically. So like that person's always falling down. You couldn't like bounce them off the ropes or anything. You couldn't go for like a top rope thing. Yeah. Constantly like shake the ropes or pull you down, interfere. Oh, drove me insane.
Yeah, I'm not surprised.
Yep. All right, so Nintendo Switch Online.
Mm-hmm. What do you got?
we have a complicated relationship with Nintendo Switch Online.
I think Nintendo has a complicated relationship with online anything.
Yeah. So you remember back in May when we were first talking about Nintendo Switch Online, we were talking about their new save data cloud backup feature.
Yes. Which should have been a feature since the start, but hey, Nintendo.
Or, just a local backup, an ability to plug your thing in and save your games off of your console. Because right now, you break your Switch.
That's it.
So sad, too bad.
Your save games go with it, basically.
Pretty much. So last week, Nintendo has confirmed our suspicions. You remember way back when we were talking about some games would not be compatible with the cloud save data backup?
Yeah.
It's because of what we said. The possibility of cheating.
Mm-hmm.
So we had theorized Pokemon, things like that. It's absolutely the case. So here's a list of games that will not be compatible for saving to the cloud.
Okay.
So you got Splatoon 2, you got Dark Souls Remastered, you got FIFA 19, NBA 2K19, you got NBA Playgrounds, you got Dead Cells, you got Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu, and Eevee.
Okay.
So all the ones that have a substantial online component that you either have rankings or you have items that can be traded or lost. So they don't want you, say, in Dark Souls or in Pokemon, trading for Pokemon, then backing out, and you have all your inventory back.
Right, yeah.
So, so Nintendo offers this statement. In certain games, this feature would make it possible to, for example, regain items that have been traded to other players or revert to a higher online multiplayer ranking that had been lost. And they said specifically about Splatoon 2 is to ensure that saved data cloud backups cannot be used to unfairly affect online multiplayer rankings. So, I mean, you're still fucked. If you lose your system with any of these games, you have no backups whatsoever.
Yeah. The part I don't get is that if this is Nintendo's own system and their own way of transferring files and everything like that, where's the security within that?
Yeah.
Like, why can't they allow these things to be backed up? Even from like their back end, maybe do stuff to like, I don't know, prove that it's you. They have complete control of that file, like if it's with them and stuff like that. Some kind of extra security that they can put into these so that there is some physical way to back this stuff up, just in case. You
remember originally on the PS3 when they first introduced the Save Cloud for the PS Plus, originally you wouldn't be able to download your cloud save for 24 hours after you put it up.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's inconvenient, but for someone who just broke their system, that's great. They don't give a shit.
It's still locked away. It's still an option, better than no option.
Right. But if you're trading stuff and then, now I get it all back, at least it's a disincentive. But, why don't they have, like, digital signing on these saves? Or on these multiplayer games that they're worried about, why don't they have server-side profiles saved?
Nintendo with servers?
Right?
What are you talking about?
I know.
They don't know what a server is.
Granted, that's the guy that brings us a Grey Poupon. Right? So, I don't know, but like server-side data, like profiles and stuff, so there's no local tampering. That's not unheard of.
Yeah, absolutely.
If Nintendo is going to come into the 21st century, or the 20th century, and have like online service, get with the times. Cloud backup. I mean, it's not rocket surgery.
Well, and one of the core factors too of that is the Switch is as we've seen, a lot of people take it mobile. A lot of people, they'll bring it on the bus, they'll bring it to their friend's house, whatever.
Right.
What happens when you bring something outside of your house? You can easily lose it, or it can get stolen.
Yep.
Then that's it. All your files are gone.
Well, if you get stabbed or something, I'm sure you don't give a shit about your Switch.
Yeah, there's more pressing things at hand, but
pretty much.
But no, ultimately you have this mobile system, and then there's no way to back up a bunch of the stuff on it. It just seems silly.
Even outside of all that,
I need to shut your TV off. I'm seeing it in the mirror, and it's fucking distracting.
Okay, technology fails sometimes, right? It just fails. So even outside of anything untoward happening, like getting stolen, getting broken, whatever.
Yeah.
Sometimes it just breaks.
And that's the thing is, like, I understand, like, Nintendo they have good quality hardware and stuff, but things break.
Exactly.
Especially if you have a family and you have a Switch and the kids are playing with it and shit like that. They fucking fall off the couch and elbow drop the Switch. That's it.
Whip a Joy-Con at the screen, playing 1-2 Switch or something, right in the middle of a intense game of shaving for businessmen. All right, we got some quick hits.
Okay.
We talked about it last week on Comic Sans. Henry Cavill from Superman, Man of Steel, will be playing Geralt of Rivia on Netflix's new Witcher series.
That one, I'm kind of torn on it. Like, he seems to be a pretty solid actor.
I would like it kind of I don't know what the original book version is, because it's not the game version. It's the book version. So I don't know.
But
he has the star power, though.
I don't know. When it comes to those things, I'm just one of those guys. Like, I'm of the mindset, I like to see people that I don't recognize.
Yeah.
That's always kind of my mindset for people playing versions of, like, video game characters or, like, comic book characters and stuff like that. I don't like to see super famous people in those roles, because they're already kind of attached to other memories of other movies and stuff like that. So
was Ray Stevenson busy? He would have made a great Witcher.
Yeah, that could have worked.
Yeah, I don't know. The Witcher is not necessarily a jacked guy, but I mean, Ray Stevenson's big without being.
But I mean, you can you can build your body out to be whatever for a role anyways.
He's a big guy. Anyway, Red Dead Redemption 2, it's been confirmed that you're only playing as a single player. There's no multiple characters you're playing. So the rumors that you're playing multiple characters like in GTA 5, that's not the thing.
And that was one of those things too. It's just we weren't quite sure at this point, because there were so many characters and they showed these kind of different parts of the cutscenes. So I'm glad that they finally confirmed what's going on.
So you're not playing other members of the Van der Linde gang. It's just Arthur Morgan, who's like one of these guys that you've heard of but never ever encountered in the original game. The developer Edmund McMullen.
Can you say that again?
Edmund McMillan. Excuse me.
Edmund McMillan.
Edmund McMullen.
And welcome to the chat, Damon Blade.
Hey, Damon Blade, how you doing?
Shirt.
Hail Xeon. All right. I'm actually shocked that James Marine didn't jump on that first. Unless he did and I missed it. But
It might have been like way up there in the chat or something.
I have a whole host of brand new cool shirts. All right. So, let's see. Edmund McMillan.
Yes.
He's famous for creating The Binding of Isaac. There's a brand new DLC coming out called Repentance, which will be the last DLC for the game.
I was going to say, because
it's been around since the 2011.
I was going to say, like 2010, 2011, somewhere around there.
7 years. September the 28th, 2011 it was released originally on PC. So there's no price or release date yet, but a logical guess would probably be the 28th of this month, which would be his 7-year anniversary.
Yeah.
So that would be great. There's been a huge batch of video game announcements because, of course, today was the kickoff for Tokyo Game Show.
Of course, yes.
A lot of it's just, stuff that we've already seen, but in Japanese. There's a bunch of stuff that we're going to see that we will never see.
There was a remix trailer for Sekiro.
Yep.
Always Die Twice, or
Yep.
whatever that
Shadows Die Twice.
Shadows Die Twice, yeah.
Which looked very cool.
I watched again because holy shit, that game looks good.
So some other announcements that are kind of slipping under the radar. Civilization 6 is coming to the Switch November the 16th. And there was supposed to be a Nintendo Direct that was delayed due to the earthquake in Hokkaido.
Yes.
So that was an announcement that kind of slipped under the radar of a lot of people. It's going to have all of the current updates, and it's going to include DLC for Vikings, Poland, Australia, Persia, and Macedon civilizations, and scenario packs. And it's going to have, here's the weird and interesting, but I can't decide if it's a great or stupid idea. It's like right on the cusp of, that's fantastic, and no one will ever use that. It has 4-player multiplayer via wireless LAN.
Ooh.
Right? That's like, you can see how that'd be good, but at the same time...
What? I'll take it. Because, again, that falls into the group of it's an option.
Right.
It is there if you want to use it. And I think that's fucking cool.
I mean, I like the idea of multiplayer Civilization, but anyone who's played multiplayer Civilization knows the further you get into the game, it grinds to a fucking halt.
Well, and that's the whole thing, is that's something literally you could have your living room set up. Yeah, everyone comes over with their Switches, and you play that 4-player, like, all in the same living room. So it's like a virtual board game at that point.
There you go. All right. Tales of Vesperia Definitive Edition is coming to PS4, Xbox One, PC, and Switch on January 11th, 2019. So that was a game that was out on PS3 in Japan, but in North America, it was an Xbox 360 exclusive.
Right.
So it's going to have all of the PS3 exclusive material that was in the Japanese version that never made it stateside. All of that stuff is coming to the Definitive Edition early next year. So 360 owners, if you played it before, you now have incentive to buy it again, aside from it just looking fantastic.
No, and Jane and Serena, I don't think so.
Actual Death Stranding gameplay. They showed a trailer of some new stuff.
Yeah.
Intercut with a lot of stuff we'd seen before, but I'm not
I think it was basically pretty much what we've seen already, so yeah.
They would save that for E3 or PSX, because PSX is like only a couple of months away. Oh, Christ, this year. Okay. Anyway, what else? Nintendo has also announced a limited edition Pokemon-themed Switch.
Yep.
Because scalpers needed something else to sell.
I know. It's like, I don't even pay attention to the news for those things anymore, because it's like, you get to be excited for about 3 seconds, and your brain says, hey, someone else is going to buy that and charge you 3 times as much for it. I'm like, oh, right, sad face.
So it is a limited edition Pokemon-themed Switch. It has the Pokeball Plus accessory. It has a pre-installed version of either Eevee or Pikachu, depending on which one you bought, which set you buy.
Yeah.
The Joy-Cons are the pale orange of the Eevee and the yellow of a Pikachu, like color matched.
Yep.
And on the back are a bunch of silhouettes of the different characters in the Pokeballs. And on the back of the dock, it actually has their pictures with Pokemon on it.
Right. I saw the Pikachu one, and it's basically exactly what you think it looks like.
Yep. And it releases November the 16th. No idea the price yet. Just it's going to be $300 on eBay. Doesn't matter. Crystal Chronicles. Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles. You remember that game?
I actually just caught this today, and I was kind of excited because I never got to play the original with its very, very convoluted setup.
on the GameCube, right? Yeah. Jesus Christ. So it's coming to PS4 and Switch. Releases in Japan August the 8th. In North America, February 9th of... Released in Japan, I'm talking about the original. 2003.
Yeah, exactly.
Holy shit. So it releases in Japan next year. We have not gotten confirmation it's going to have an international release yet. I don't know how the original one did, but the Japanese version is apparently going to have global multiplayer, so theoretically, eventually, everyone might be able to play together.
I'm just excited because it's like, I always liked that idea of like a multiplayer Final Fantasy game, but not like an MMO.
Sure.
It's like you're all on the same screen, you're kind of doing the same thing, but it's classic Final Fantasy style. But yeah, again, it was that whole convoluted setup of the GameCube,
right,
where you had to have like DSs plugged into the GameCube, and you all had your own screens, and it was like, look, that would be really cool.
Right.
If everyone had that fucking setup, but no, like almost no one had that setup to do that.
No, they tried this with the Dreamcast. It was stupid then, it's stupid now. Final Fantasy 15 Pocket Edition is coming to Switch very soon. And if that surprises you, then you're probably going to be really surprised by the fact that it's available for PS4 and Xbox One already.
Yeah.
It came out like Thursday or Friday last week.
Now, do you know exactly what it is?
Pocket. It's basically Final Fantasy 15
with downgraded graphics.
Chibi.
Yeah.
And compress the storyline.
Okay.
And it's basically the same game.
But the same, like,
shorter.
The same combat, the same idea, like everything going on. It isn't like some ham-fisted Android version of it or something like that. Like, it still feels like a full game. It's just downsized.
It's like 25 hours or something.
Okay.
I can tell you it will...
It's the Cliff's Notes of Final Fantasy 15.
I can tell you it'll probably make me less angry than the original one did. Apparently people like it who like that kind of thing. I cannot see myself diving back into Final Fantasy 15 in any way.
It just feels like one of those things that if they were going to have this thing delivered in a different format and like a different look and everything like it, I feel like that would have been the perfect outlet for some side stories about the other characters or about the world or something else, rather than let's just retell the same story in a compressed version with cutesy chibi characters.
Just pull a Yakuza, change a couple of map elements, throw a new character in, brand new game. Go.
Yeah, there you go.
You know,
people will pay for it.
I mean, granted, they're no Yakuza. Believe me, they do not tell a story like that. So anyway, since I'm shitting on it, I may as well tell you that Square also announced that Final Fantasy 15 has sold. Guess how much they've sold?
Oh, I don't know. Is it good or bad?
I mean, it's good for a Final Fantasy game.
I don't know. 15 million units.
No, not that much. 8.1 million copies.
Okay.
Which I think is more still than any other Final Fantasy over the years, but it's only been like 2 years.
Oh, recent years anyways.
Yeah. So anyway, this game has done so well with all their like secondary content and whatnot. They're going to have a second season pass.
Okay.
So there's going to be a whole new round of DLC starting next year. We're going to get more details at their anniversary celebration, which is in November.
Are they going to finish the story?
Till they patch it. I mean, who the fuck knows?
It's just going to turn into Final Fantasy 15. These are the days of our lives, and it's just going to go on forever.
Literally, I have finished the game, and there is shit in the plot now that I have never seen. So, whatever. I'm done.
And J.T. brings up a good point, is that Kingdom Hearts 3 will decimate those sales numbers.
I am sure. And I watched that. They had like a whole section with Baymax and whatnot.
Yeah, they had like a fresh little trailer in there. So yeah, you finally got confirmation and a look at the Big Hero 6 universe, Tangled universe.
That was the first time we'd seen
yes,
Big
like
Hero 6,
the actual like visuals of it.
It
we had known that it was in there. They just hadn't shown anything of it.
Pretty much how you expected it,
exactly what I expected it to be. Yeah.
All right. And so they showed that today. Alongside that, they also showed footage from Kingdom Hearts virtual experience, the VR experience. So I don't know what the fuck that is.
I was actually talking to J2K earlier about this. Is that it was? I think it's just going to be one of those quick little experiences. Like, hey, here's something fun to play around in the VR for a bit. It's a free experience, kind of like the Trico thing that came out for Last Guardian. Like it was just like, hey, throw the headset on, have fun for 10 minutes, and away you go.
I got a Keyblade.
yeah. You're probably like able to shoot magic and hit some like little creatures over the head, and that's about it.
Yeah, and to round out our last quick hit today, being the 10th of September, SNK's Countdown is up today.
Oh, so?
And it was, in fact, a brand new Samurai Showdown.
Yes, I called it.
It looks amazing.
I still have to see this.
Oh, it looks like very much the aesthetics of like Street Fighter V when it came out.
That beautiful, like painted, cel-shaded kind of thing going on.
It definitely has like a cel-shaded, emulated look. It looks very, very good. And I couldn't tell if it was 2D, 3D, or if it was legitimately 3D, but it looked like it played... Like, I don't know if it's even supposed to be a remake or it's a brand new one.
The trick to that one now is from what I've seen, is I don't know if you've ever seen like a lot of the newer like Guilty Gear, BlazBlue games and stuff like that. Yeah. Those ones are mind-blowing because they look like hand-drawn 2D fighters. But they show that in real time, they fly the camera on the characters. They're actually 3D. They do something with the blending of all the cell shading and all that kind of other stuff that when you have a steady camera angle on it, it looks flat and it looks animated.
Right.
But as soon as you spin that camera, they are a fully 3D character in the game. So
I mean,
they're probably going with something in that realm of
they've pretty much
animation.
perfected that these days. Like, it's all about angles. Like, you only get the cell shading literally around what you would see as the outside of the character.
But it's amazing how it blends, because like when I saw the gameplay at first, like of I think it was one of the Guilty Gear games, I was like, yep, they're up to their old ways of, you know, hand drawn, like beautifully animated stuff. And then my buddy was just like, wait, watch this, and he showed me this other video of this camera flying around. I was like, no, that's a 3D model? Are you fucking kidding me? Like,
and because we haven't talked about Spider-Man in 20 minutes, one of the later costumes you actually unlock is like the 70s Spider-Man costume, and it does that flat effect too.
I love it. It looks so good. It's just mattified, and it looks very flat.
But what's even better is that his suit power is quips.
Oh,
so
no.
It's like all cheesy. I've actually used it, but I can only imagine what it is. So that's got to be hilarious.
Oh, and apparently Janus Marine is very excited for Samurai Showdown.
Yes, yes. I was a big fan of Samurai Showdown back in the day. I even bought like an imported PS1 game.
Oh,
so
really?
I could play the old school Samurai Showdown on PS1. So yeah, that was awesome. So that's it for the quick hits. Let's get on to the big ticket.
All right.
It's also a brand new game that they showed at Tokyo Game Show today.
Spider-Man.
It was not Spider-Man.
Sure it wasn't Spider-Man?
No,
oh, wait, that came out already.
No. But it's not going to help my Yakuza backlog. It is the brand new game, the not... by the way, have you tried...
not Yakuza.
No. Along the lines of the Ryugu Gotoku studio, the brand new Fist of the North Star. There's a demo. Have you played the demo?
Oh, no, I didn't know there was going to be a demo. I'd seen some like video from it and stuff like that.
I've downloaded it, but I've been up to my tits in fucking Spider-Man, so it's there on my XMB, but check that out. It's not that. It's a completely brand new game.
Okay.
And it looks amazing.
And is it, because we had talked about before about like the guys that made Yakuza, you figured it was just kind of like they would take all the kind of the mechanics and the feel of the Yakuza games, but then just slap a coat of Fist of the North Star over it. Well, but this is a fully brand new from the ground up game.
Okay, so here's the thing: the brand new game, it's called Project Judge. If you look at the logo in Japanese, it actually says Judge Eyes, but apparently translates differently or something, or they just wanted to phrase it differently for North America. That's just the working title. They don't have an actual final title yet. But Toshihiro Nagoshi was actually on stage to talk about it today. He rolled out the trailer. They had terrible, awkward live translation of the trailer. But I suffered through it because the game looked amazing. So you can tell already, when you look at the cinematic, it opens up, and the cinematic, you can tell it is like a Yakuza-style game. Like, when I say style, like the cinematics are done in a very filmic way.
Yeah.
And the quality, like they all look like people. They look like in a real environment in Japan. So everything we've come to expect from Yakuza, all those cinematics, they're right up to that standard. But the game centers around this attorney who's named Takayuki Yagami, and he is shamed when a client that he gotten acquitted, like he was a defense attorney.
Okay. He
got him off for murder, and turns out that this guy eventually he murders again. So this guy is shamed, like, you know, he works for criminals, you know, he do anything for $1, and he is like driven out of his own industry. He's like all depressed and shit. So he turns into like Kwai Chang Caine. So he grows his hair out. He goes like a leather jacket. He goes into being like a private eye. So he becomes a private detective, and he's he investigates like serial killers. Either, I don't know if it's in his spare time or it's part of the game, like when you have clients or whatnot. But Sega describes him in his press release as a man of conviction who fights for his beliefs despite the overwhelming despair surrounding him. So like all of the characters, they're like famous Japanese characters. So they're bringing that from Yakuza into this.
Yeah.
The main character has 1,000 minutes of dialogue. So if you do the math, that is 16.5 hours of dialogue for the main character.
Oh, man.
And if you remember in Yakuza, like a lot of his stuff wasn't even voiced. It was just text.
Yeah.
So it's probably way more than that even. So all the other characters on top of that, there's a lot of dialogue. There's a lot of story. So you're thinking, okay, this is interesting. It's Yakuza, but this other kind of story. You're gonna have pictures for taking. You have a camera for taking pictures of evidence.
I was just hoping that because he was like an attorney and stuff like that, it was gonna go like Phoenix Wright, and I was just gonna beat people up in the courtroom.
So your camera, you take pictures of evidence, which can be used later in court.
Oh, okay.
With in-game rewards for how good your pictures are.
Oh, okay.
So it's like CSI Snap.
Yeah.
So it also has Yakuza-style brawling, so you're still fighting people in the street and shit, but you are a private detective. You are gathering evidence. Apparently, they've spent like 3 years designing this story. So I want you to read the...
I just imagine it's just like, hey, private detective, we need those pictures for court.
Yeah.
Wait, this is 20 pictures of your dick.
These are balls.
0 points.
Yes. So let me read the write-up from Sega from the press release. Enhancing the game's position as a courtroom thriller and embodying the feeling of playing a detective, players will need to utilize key investigative skills in conjunction with unique gameplay features to unveil the truths hidden at the core of Project Judge's plot. What lies beyond the suffering and failures of the man trapped within his past? Is it a divine revelation or something more sinister? Stay tuned for information on Project Judge, the courtroom thriller action game brought to you by the prolific tag team of Takuya Kimura and Ryuga Gotoku. I always fucking fumble that. Ryuga Gotoku Studios, the Yakuza Studios.
It's not an easy name to say, so it's acceptable.
Ryuga Gotoku. Gagatoku is a bad combination of syllables. Anyway, it basically reminds me a lot of the plot of that anime Monster, which was like Dr. Tenma, and he like wandered the earth Kwai-Chang Kane style. Yeah. But it's like Ace Attorney meets Monster.
That's interesting.
Yeah, so it's like a noir thriller investigation slash courtroom slash Yakuza style brawler with a bunch of mini games for
So is it connected to Yakuza at all?
Not
directly?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I really don't think so, because this seems like it's played straight up as a serious drama.
Okay, I didn't want to be in someone's like seedy apartment and I'm like taking pictures of like a hooker or something, and all of a sudden Majima Goro pops out of the closet and punches me in the head.
Majima anywhere, like in court, objection.
Yeah,
boom,
uppercut.
Right, he hits you with a fucking baseball bat as you're cross-examining. It's like sneaking up behind you. Yeah, so that's coming out December the 13th in Japan, and it is coming to the West. It's going to be out next year in the West, and I am all over that. If you watch the trailer, it looks really interesting, because like I always like that whole idea of Monster, like this doctor turned essentially assassin.
Yes, yeah.
And this is lawyer turned like street thug, basically.
Well, he knows the game, basically,
right.
So yeah.
Right. So it's really an interesting story, and the way they're presenting it really looks like it could be a really fascinating game.
And what's it called again?
It's right now the working title is Project Judge. That's the Western name. It'll have like eventually a proper title. But next year. But we'll know like what the Japanese version name is in December. So probably we'll have like a translation of what it will be by then. So yeah, I'm really excited for that. I sat and I watched that trailer a couple of times. Despite the real-time translation, I bore with it enough to get the gist of what was going on, and it looks like it could be like in line with Yakuza if Yakuza was played 100% straight-laced and no chicken or Majima or guys in diapers assaulting you on the street and stuff.
Or swinging motorbikes at people.
Yeah, breaking a bicycle over somebody's head. No huge linebacker transvestites chasing you down the streets. Like, I will get you. Yeah. Like, none of that nonsense. Like, it's played straight.
Probably be a claw machine game in there.
There's darts and stuff. There are mini games. They said flat out it's a Yakuza
It
studio.
has that Yakuza feel to it.
Right.
So.
But hopefully a lot of their mini games would be like themed around the investigation itself.
Mm-hmm.
But it looks really interesting. I'm a lot more excited for that than I am for that Quiet Man one that's Square is doing.
Yeah, that one's still kind of really random. I want to know a bit more about it, but
everything I hear about it lessens my enthusiasm for it, actually. All right, so you know what time it is.
Yeah.
And let's do it. 20 minutes left. We're basically on time. So it's time to press select on the options menu. And I don't... That's the closest I got.
That's a horrible select sound.
Survey says...
Select button.
Yeah. Survey says we have near misses and second chances. Suggestion. Oh, JH is a suggestion for the new topic in the options menu. Video game related content suggestions. Well, that's the checkpoint.
That's the checkpoint. Yeah, that's basically that's like our open discussion about something video game related. So yeah, we do have that option. It's just typically there needs a little bit more forethought put into it. It needs to be something to discuss for the 20 minutes or whatever.
If you would like to select an option, please write us on Twitter at Digital_Fiasco, especially if it's a checkpoint. Give us a topic. Write us in, and if you select your topic, you'll win something.
And we hope that you're watching at the same time, because we'd love to discuss it with you. That's kind of the whole point.
Yep. Video suggestions. What do you mean? History videos, deep dives? Okay, are you going to edit some videos for us, Jay Tanuki? Because I ain't doing that shit. I have enough trouble doing this shit live, let alone editing and post-processing.
Well, we'll get there. We'll get there.
We still don't have a fucking intro video for this show. It's been a year.
Hoping to work on that sooner than later.
We'll get
have to get past the cons.
I just have a lot of shit on my plate.
Yep.
Like Spider-Man. Anyway, so we're going to talk about near misses and second chances. These are games that almost hit the mark. Maybe they need a second game to really redeem them. They had something that was cool in them, despite them being terrible games. All of those things count. Basically, games that were almost good. So what do you have as a near miss today?
My near miss kind of goes with a few games that
I'm just going to get a drink. Do you want a glass of something?
Just water, please.
Water?
Yeah.
I got to find a drink.
Okay. Yeah, mine would be basically it comes from I don't even know if it's a trilogy of games or just like a series of games, but basically there was a few passes and a few fails across the entire series. You know what? I'm gonna wait to talk about this till Jack is back, because it's pretty hard to talk about a series of games when he isn't here to throw back and forth with me. What are you saying there, Janus? And yes, he did pick a really bad point to go get a drink, because we got like 10 minutes left, and yeah, and now here he comes back.
Oh, what's the problem?
Oh, I was just waiting for you to get back, because no, you're not. You get back in your chair. It's really hard to have a passionate discussion about video games when I'm talking to a wall and a microphone and an empty chair.
Well, if it makes it any easier, I'm really not listening to you anyways.
Oh, well, okay. I guess that's fair. Oh, and JTNuki's actually come back saying, no, recommend an episode of game theory, a documentary, something to watch, or something in gaming culture. Yeah, I turn that upside down.
Why?
Because Spider-Man likes to hang upside down from his web. Like that. Don't argue physics here.
There's a point where you have one of your major villains hanging from a thing, and you're hanging like upside down for the thing.
Yeah.
Are we gonna kiss now? He says.
That's to be expected.
Yeah, it was funny. Anyway.
Yeah, and I have actually thought about that before, and not even necessarily that kind of open broad, but something where I just suggest an indie game, like indie loop kind of situation on the show. But again, my life needs to get kind of more back to normal before I can do that research and get those to you. But
it's kind of a hidden gems thing at that point. But
yeah, just something a little bit different, because I would love to have some more stuff to do on the checkpoint.
50 minutes left in the stream, getting a drink now. You can blame Albel for that. He's the one that gave me this fucking Andromeda strain that I still haven't gotten rid of. My throat is dry and I've been talking for 2 hours, so yeah, that's how it is.
Okay. So, I didn't tell the chat what I was kind of leading into.
Yes, since I didn't hear the opening.
Yeah, exactly. So it was a series of games. And,
if someone joins us in the stream, they're going to think we're drunk.
Good enough.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, it was a series of games. Some passes, some fails. Okay. But overall, I did enjoy them, but I feel like they could make another one and really, really knock it out of the park.
Okay.
I don't know if you were a fan of this series, but I actually really loved Turok Dinosaur Hunter for Nintendo 64.
I was and I wasn't.
Yeah, and see, that's the whole thing, is that they had some really cool ideas, and there was some very fun gameplay.
Yeah.
But there was also some very broken stuff in those games.
There was also a lot of fog.
Yes, there was a lot of fog because it was a 64 game. Now,
hardware.
They did fix the fog quite well on the quote-unquote remasters that they brought out on Steam.
Right.
Because obviously you could just... They were the original games. They were just upgraded to the tits with, draw distance and clarity of all like the the polygons and everything like that. But overall, it was basically the same game. Just, you know, you had a mouse and keyboard. But overall, I remember having like tons of fun with those games. It was such a ridiculous concept.
Okay.
But overall, the 264 games, I had both of them, and I had tons of fun with those ones. Second one introduced multiplayer, a la like GoldenEye. And you could play as a raptor in that one. Like, it was a lot of fun. Like, they had fun with those ones. And then they made the PS3, Xbox 360 one.
I played that.
Which was just called Turok.
It was not good.
And it was not good. They seemed to forget that the game was supposed to be fun. It almost reminded me if Hollywood got their hands on the license for Turok and then tried to make a big budget movie out of it. Because they took the core concept, which was dude with gun shoots dinosaurs in jungle.
Right.
And then they wrote their entire fucking thing elsewhere. Like, it made no sense. It like
the Star Trek Discovery method.
Yes, basically. So they lost all the heart and all the fun that was in the previous games. Now, they weren't the best built games, but they were still very entertaining to play. Whereas that newer one, it looked way prettier, and there were some cool ideas in it, like as far as the weapons go and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But everything else just like lost its way. So what we need, I think, is for this second chance, is we need a mix of current gen technology, but the old school off the wall ridiculousness that was the original series.
See, if I'm remembering correctly, I think the original Turok came out fairly early in the 64's life cycle.
Oh, very much so, yeah.
And before GoldenEye came out.
Yes, yeah, it was. Because you could tell, because if you played GoldenEye and you played Turok, even though
you go back to GoldenEye.
Well, you would go back to GoldenEye because it's just a genuinely better game. But GoldenEye did some neat tricks with some of the controls to like make use of the controller you had, and just to make, because first-person shooters were still kind of a new concept on consoles at that point.
Right.
So Turok felt very, very clunky compared to even GoldenEye, and GoldenEye, of course, feels clunky now with modern first-person shooters.
Yeah.
So that's the whole thing with that, is that if they took, again, some of the ridiculousness of the original game. Yes, Turok 2 did. Turok 1 just had the game, like the one-player game. That was it. But yeah, so let's get like a modern game, because I was thinking about this actually when I was playing Horizon Zero Dawn, because of course you're fighting animals and dinosaurs, they're all robots and shit like that. But I remembered back to just the craziness that was like Native American dude in like cyber goggles and like classic armor, with like electricity bow shooting T-Rex with laser pointer on its eye and a cannon strapped to its back, and I'm like, that was so fucking awesome. Like it was so Saturday morning cartoon ridiculousness that I would love to have that craziness, but in like a modern game, and just clean it up and make it look amazing and control very well, and have a lot of fun with like the gadgets and the weapons and everything.
See,
like
I played like more than my fair share of Horizon, and I can honestly tell you that not once did my brain go to Turok.
It was honestly, well, I mean,
for sure Zoids, but
no,
not
but
Turok.
it was the concept of just fighting a T-Rex, which was a Thunderjaw, the big robot stuff. This one, like an actual T-Rex, but it has some robot parts on it
with a rocket launcher.
But then you're just like, you know, cool big muscular dude with like a bow and arrow and like all these like crazy weapons, explosive shotgun, and you had like that fucking Doomsday cane thing that shot like a nuke and stuff, and I was just like, it was like a rod cane thing. You had to collect the parts throughout the game because it was like so powerful that you couldn't unlock it till like the end of the game, basically. But when you made it, it was like this, looked like a magic like Merlin staff wand thing, and it made like this blue cloud at the end. You charge it up, you shot it like a laser beam. When it hit its target, it went off like a fucking nuke and just like exploded everything in that area.
Obviously, I didn't get that far in the game. I think that was probably late game content.
That, and then, you know, there was that, and you know, some of the other craziness that was like in the second one, we talked about this before, the I think it was called like the Ripsaw or whatever, which was like little throwing disc like saw blade thing, and it would just like sit there and like slice through them. They had the cerebral bore that like sucked their brain matter out, like that shit. But like modern technology gaming would be fucking awesome.
That would be cool.
Yeah, and then have that kind of asymmetrical gameplay of like somebody plays a fucking T-Rex or a raptor, with like, you know, mechanical arms and claws and shit like that, and then the other people are like hunting it with their like normal weapons or whatever. Like that type of situation, like I would love to have that craziness again.
Just making a note for myself for our next Steal That Idea, the I Come in Peace video game.
Interesting idea.
Yeah, it could work. I mean, it's not nearly as compelling as the Running Man video game. But...
No, but then nothing else will be.
That's true. God, one day.
But yeah, again, it was one of those things I was reminded of when I was playing Horizon, and I just remember really, really enjoying those games, and it was something that clearly they went back and thought about because they made another game for 360 and PS3. It was just unfortunately not a good game. So yeah, I would love to see an actual good game come out of that. Even if it was like, you know, not directly a Turok game. Maybe it's like you have like 3 characters to pick from, a Turok's one of them, and they're just, you know, dino hunters or something like that kind of thing.
That you go in pieces. He remembers the line.
Yep.
Asshole. Yep. Who was the guy? It was Dolph Lundgren, and who was the other guy?
Oh, it was Highlander dude, wasn't it?
No, was it?
I thought it was.
Who played the alien?
That's
James Marine. Help me out.
I thought it was what's his name from Highlander? In Mortal Kombat and stuff like that. I'll find it for you.
No, you mean Christopher Lambert?
Yeah, I thought he was in that.
I don't think so.
Okay, well, that
doesn't matter. James Marine will figure it out. He's our local IMDb guy.
Yeah.
He will help me out.
And
by the way, I only just noticed your N64 hat, which is
is this the first time you've seen this?
Literally. Well,
Fuck,
I mean,
I've like worn it like so many times.
I've seen it before. I just only noticed that you were wearing it tonight. So
yeah, it was to go with my like retro video game filthy casual shirt.
I noticed the shirt. I just did not notice the hat till just now.
Matt Hughes?
Matthias Hughes. Who the hell is that?
Oh yeah, Matthias Hughes played Talek.
Was he the guy?
I don't know. He looks old as fuck now on this picture. So
yeah, I'd have to look at his filmography.
Patrick Stewart's brother with hair.
Patrick Stewart's Slavic brother.
Yeah,
he's from Norway.
Okay, so what's your near miss?
Before I start, have I ever talked about Red Faction?
No.
I mean, like, no. Have I ever talked about Red Faction in the context of the
PS2 game?
Yes, the trilogy.
Very little, actually. We of course have. Yes. We've talked about Red Faction Guerrilla many times because it's an amazing game.
There are 3 excellent Red Faction games.
Yes.
And then there's the other one.
And then the other one that shall not be named.
Yeah. I'm not entirely sure if we've ever talked about that as a near miss.
Armageddon?
Yeah.
No, because usually as soon as Armageddon's mentioned, we're just like, no, that game sucks, and then we carry on. So
I think in the context of a second chance,
have you actually played Armageddon?
I have.
Okay.
I've played Armageddon. I bought Armageddon when it was new.
Oh, ouch.
Yeah, that was one of those ones where it's like, it's Red Faction. How bad could it be?
Yeah. And Janus Marine, that's true. I believe that was the European title for that movie.
Dark Angel. Not obviously the one that had...
No, the Jessica Alba one?
Yeah.
Oh, that was terrible.
It wasn't... It had its moments. It had some interesting parts to it.
Interesting.
I mean, it was a little bit more interesting before it became Beauty and the Beast, but it was interesting. You know, future, the whole pulse. They had
if it actually had a budget, it might have been better.
Yeah, I mean, it was on Fox, so no, they had no budget. If fucking Firefly can't live, then Dark Angel got like 3 seasons or something.
3 seasons.
It's ridiculous.
Yep.
Because that was Jessica Alba and she was hot.
There you go. That was the surviving factor.
Pretty much.
Sorry, Nathan Fillion. He's a good-looking guy, but apparently not as hot as Jessica Alba. So
yeah, and Marina Baccarin also hot, but she was one character, not the main character.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. Anyway.
So, tell me about Armageddon, because I've never personally played it.
Okay.
I've seen, like, some videos of it, and that's about it. And I'm like, no, this looks fucking terrible. How could you do this?
Let's walk it back and lay the groundwork for why Armageddon was such a terrible misstep for the franchise. So, first of all, the original Red Faction game was a PC game, eventually came to PS2. It was a first-person shooter. It had terrain deformation. It was like the first time you had... essentially free terrain deformation as a mechanic in a game.
Yep.
And it was definitely unique. It had a great storyline. You're on Mars. You're in a rebellion trying to kick Earth off of Mars. There's like, your workers in a mine. You had the whole Ultor tie-in with Saints Row later. So it's like a proactive sequel, I guess. So anyway... So that was great. Red Faction 1, great game, basic game. Red Faction 2, again, I didn't think it was as good as the first one, but it was still good.
It was kind of more of the same, really.
Right. First-person shooter, terrain deformation, whatever. On PC, eventually came to PS2. So both of those were good. It built up a solid fan base based on the kind of shooting you would see. You're fighting Earth, you're trying to liberate, there's this plot line, and you had this mechanic, this terrain deformation. So in walks Red Faction Guerrilla. Easily my favorite and the most popular of the 3 games in the trilogy. Red Faction Guerrilla takes the formula of the first-person shooter, turns it into a third-person open-world game. And instead of terrain deformation, they kind of went a different way where...
Building deformation.
Basically, right? Every building had real-world physics and mechanics to it. So you could, with your big-ass sledgehammer, and that was like the big selling point of the game in the trailers, you smack a part of the building, it'll crush, you hit it harder, more will fall down, you hit like the actual stress points, and eventually, if you take out enough supports, it will react in real time, and the physics will be realistic to the damage that is done. That building will collapse, like downward or fall over, or however you've destroyed it.
99% of the time.
Right, so you have your sledgehammer, you have charges, you have rocket launchers, you have all kinds of different mines and explosives, vehicles. Like you could actually drive a tank or even just a bus into something, and you'd smash through lighthouses.
But it was a Mars bus.
Right,
everything was cool and different looking.
So yeah, and it like for at the time what was a PS3 game or a PC game, but even on a console, had so amazing like physics and mechanics for buildings falling down.
It was mind-blowing at that time, because there are just a handful of games that have complete, like, not terrain, but like structured deformation or whatever. Like, there's very, very few games that I can think of where, like, if I want to sit there for 45 minutes or an hour or whatever, I can literally just level an entire, like, you know, field in front of me of like buildings and structures and everything like that. The only one I can think of offhand right now, outside of like those War of Monsters type games and stuff like that, that's the whole point of them, was like Rad, like Robot Alchemic Drive, and even then that was kind of a third person of one of those type of games.
Kaiju game essentially, right? So you don't see games like that. Anyway, so Red Faction Guerrilla had this fantastic mechanic, and even better, they took that mechanic and made truly unique multiplayer modes with it that were fun as hell to play. And I don't particularly like multiplayer in games, especially competitive multiplayer. But Red Faction was a blast. Red Faction Guerrilla was so much fun multiplayer to play. So fast forward, it's been a couple of years since Red Faction Guerrilla came out. Red Faction was a big thing for, at the time, THQ. And they actually got in bed with Sci-Fi. There was a live-action prequel movie to Red Faction Armageddon.
Yep, I remember watching that.
Right, and there was an option for it then to be picked up as a series. There was going to be a Red Faction series. There's a whole thing. And they just fucked themselves horribly. So Red Faction Armageddon takes everything that was great about Red Faction and gets rid of it.
Yep.
And then makes basically the same game on Mars. They put you in a mine, but they can't deform the terrain, and they get rid of the open world aspect. It's all linear, and then they throw in some aliens because Mars.
Yep.
And you go through mines, and you save people from aliens, and it's all linear. And it was terrible.
Yeah, it's the only thing they kept was the third-person aspect of it. The game looked similar graphically. There was no terrain deformation. There was no structure.
You could knock over some buildings, but there were so few buildings to do. It was,
well, because you're in a mine the whole time.
Well, you were on the surface sometimes. You could knock over, like, some towers. But you were, like, going down this path. There was no open world. So it was like there was a couple of buildings, but why? That's not the focus of the game. You don't get anything for it.
Yeah.
It's not like you're fomenting rebellion among the populace like you were in the previous game, right? So, and I mean, inside the mines, there were sometimes structures that you could knock down, but why?
It's like, why bother?
Right. So it was basically this desiccated corpse of what the Red Faction concept was, trying to be made more flashy and edgy for a new generation to enjoy a shooter game in this alien environment.
But Dandr0id just made it that much worse.
Right. It was like someone had taken everything from Red Faction and said, let's make a Lost Planet game with that. And it was horrible. It was horrible. So now that THQ Nordic has Red Faction and all of their other IPs, they've re-released the original two, the PS2 to PS4. They've done Red Faction now, the remastered edition, because THQ Nordic loves their remasters with shitty puns.
Because why not?
Yeah, War Mastered, okay, fine. Definitive, just confusing. And now remastered, just come on! Yeah, like me with my $3,000 spacesuit, I'm gonna liberate Mars. Come on! So anyway, I think now we are ripe for a new Red Faction game. A Guerrilla 2, for example, would be... I would, like, just fall over sideways.
It wouldn't even need to be, like, under the...
I would really love it
the Guerrilla name. Like, it would be... What would be really cool is to see them, like, liberate Mars.
Yeah.
And then take the war back to Earth and see where Earth's at that point, and then get to Earth and their cities and their mega structures and, like, really cause some serious fucking damage.
Yeah, but at that point, it's like a whole other game, too. Like, I think, like, Red Faction 2 were kind of the same game. Red Faction Armageddon was probably closer to the original two, but without all the charm that made the first two good. I think Guerrilla is where it really hit its stride, because it was an open world. It was the structure collapsing, like the physics behind that.
Yeah.
I would like to see specifically a sequel to that, and maybe develop on Mars like a more like they've now taken over area and Earth is coming in to like try to secure it back, like fighting that war again from the opposite side.
Okay, well that's fine too. Just give me more shit to break on Mars.
More Red Faction that doesn't suck, basically. Like something more like that open world design. It was really good. It was enjoyable.
Well, I mean, with the technology we have now, we could definitely have not only structure deformation, but terrain and both, structure deformation. Right? Yeah.
You know, even if it's limited in terms of terrain, because let me tell you, No Man's Sky with the terrain deformation, that can cause problems with memory.
Oh, yeah.
Holy shit. There are still a lot of bugs to be worked out in that game.
Yeah, no, I mean, like, you can keep it limited. We don't need infinite know, terrain deformation. We don't need to dig to the center of the planet or whatever.
You don't need to, but the option's there. I'm just saying.
If you want to do that, go play Minecraft.
Just don't stay inside 7. Hey, no. Spoilers. I tell you, I would love to see a Gundam game, like a proper Gundam simulation game again, like they did on the Dreamcast.
I'm not really surprised they haven't done that.
Well, I mean, it's been a long time. They've been making too much money with like Gundam Builders and with like the traditional 2v2 ones, like the Gundam Versus and all of the many DLCs for Gundam Versus.
Of course.
Yeah, I honestly don't enjoy those games as much, but I imagine more people enjoy that arcade-style Gundam than they do the old Sim style.
Clearly they do, because people buy it.
Whatever. I've got Ace Combat. I'll be good. And actually, did you see the Ace Combat, the branded joysticks?
Yes, I did. Yeah.
These look so good. They look so nice. I can hardly wait.
But you called it, though, because they are the same. They're just rebranded and new plastic and whatnot.
I'm okay with this.
Yeah,
I'm okay with this. I'll add it to the collection. All right, folks, that is our show for this week. If you enjoy what we do here, please share this with your friends and fellow gamers. You can subscribe to us on YouTube. You can subscribe to us on Twitch. You can just follow us on Twitch so you get notifications when we go live. If you follow us on Twitter at Digital_Fiasco, you'll get updates on our programming schedule and any kind of changes to our schedule. That's probably the best place for communicating back and forth. Tell us what you think. Give us suggestions. Let us know. We love to hear from you, even if for whatever reason you like Red Faction Armageddon. No, actually, those people don't fucking call us. I don't at me, bro. Armageddon was horrible.
Go play Spider-Man.
Go play Spider-Man. Cha-ching. Not getting any money, unfortunately. And remember ZipRecruiter.
Always remember ZipRecruiter.
Also not getting any money from ZipRecruiter. Anyway, tomorrow, Kelly and Alba will be back at the regular time, 7 p.m. Central Time for Comic Sans. They'll probably be talking about something to do with Iron Fist Season 2.
Yeah, I heard it's good.
I did binge watch that this weekend. It has an interesting fucking ending.
Yeah.
But it is very good.
Okay,
I
that's good
enjoyed
to
it.
hear.
Yeah, and it definitely doesn't suffer from Marvel Netflix series dip in the middle.
That's good too, because they hit that a few times now with some of their series.
So Luke Cage season 2, now Iron Fist season 2,
Jessica
both of
Jones
which,
season 2.
that came before that, but it was pretty solid. I didn't like that as much as the first season. But yeah, the last 2, they've really solved that pacing issue.
That's good.
So hopefully Kelly and Albel will talk about that. And I'm sure that Albel will have some questions for me about Spider-Man.
Of course.
Maybe more on the lore side than on the mechanics side. But yeah, it's he's been playing it as well.
If you have any Spider-Man questions, tune in tomorrow, because we all have our pros on here to answer them.
He's been playing that instead of Persona 5 again.
Yep.
He actually also bought Dragon Quest because he had that. I caught him twice in 2 screenshots. Now playing, and I look down at Albel. I'm like, motherfucker, that's not Persona either. So yeah, I'm gonna finish.
Let the man play his game.
I'm gonna finish Dragon Quest and Spider-Man and Persona 5 before he finishes all 3. All right, folks. That is us for tonight. We are Digital Fiasco. I am Jack McBastard.
And I'm Dandr0id.
If you stick with us for a couple minutes, we'll find someone else locally here to pass along the love to. And we will see you tomorrow for Comic Sans or next week on Digital Fiasco Live. Thank you for joining us. We appreciate it. Have a good night.
Yeah.